Seejeanty, Haiti Biz News, the one show on Haiti that focuses on economic issues, what's going on, 10-foot perspective. I'm happy to have had to be here November 1st. Wow, this year is almost over. 2020 is almost over. I'm like so many people. I think we all are very happy to have this almost done, right? I want to welcome folks as you all come in. We have lots to talk about today, lots of news and information that are going to be partaged to you. As you can see here, I don't got the usual background behind me. That means I'm not in the office where I'm at. Actually, I'm stateside, but the show doesn't stop. Wherever we are, we try to make time and bring the news to you, bring info to you guys stateside. Tell you why I'm stateside in just a bit. But per usual, I want to go ahead and get this intermission video going. Got some stuff we got to do in the background. One-man crew here, as you know. So we'll be right back, and the show will then promptly begin. So again, I want to pile on in, guys. Grab a seat, grab a water. We'll be back in about two to 3 minutes. All right? Good stuff. Sundays weekly. This is Seejeanty, Haiti Biz News show. We talk about news, current events as it relates to macroeconomic condition. You can always catch us live every Sunday. Haiti Biz News show. We are on Facebook, we're on YouTube, and we are on Instagram. You can always catch us 11 a.m. On Sundays. We are live on air. We're going to be talking weekly happenings, economically focused on what has happened, and we're going to dissect it in an unbiased, impartial way. And a big part of what we do here, of course, is Haiti Biz News show. You know, I did not see and do not see any place online where folks can get a CNBC, Bloomberg-like focus on what's going on at the macroeconomic level of Haiti. So this is what Haiti Biz News show, Sunday, 11 a.m. We're here every Sunday, right? 11 a.m. You know, Haiti Biz News show. It's Sundays weekly. This is Seejeanty, Haiti Biz News show. We talk about news, current events as it relates to macroeconomic condition. You can always catch us live every Sunday, 11 a.m. Haiti Biz News show. We are on Facebook, we're on YouTube, and we are on Instagram. You can always catch us 11 a.m. On Sundays. We are live on air. We're going to be talking weekly happenings, economically focused on what has happened, and we're going to dissect it in an unbiased, impartial way. And a big part of what we do here, of course, is Haiti Biz News show. You know, I did not see and do not see any place online where folks can get a CNBC, Bloomberg-like focus on what's going on at the macroeconomic level of Haiti. So this is what this Haiti Biz News Show, Sunday, 11 a.m. We're here every Sunday, right? 11 a.m. Haiti Biz News Show. It's Sundays weekly. It's Seejeanty, Haiti Biz News Show. We talk about news, current events as it relates to macroeconomic condition. You can always catch us live every Sunday, 11 a.m. Haiti Biz News Show. We are on Facebook, we're on YouTube, and we are on Instagram. You can always catch us 11 a.m. On Sundays. We are live on air. We're going to be talking weekly happenings, focused, economically focused on what has happened. And we're going to dissect it in an unbiased, impartial way. And a big part of what we do here, of course, is Haiti Biz News Show. Boom. All right, there we go. Welcome, folks. I want to welcome you all. As I mentioned at the top of the hour, this is the 1st of November. We're 2 days away from knowing the next United States president. Holy crap. I mean, we're going to be talking about that too in this episode. But I want to welcome, we're on a bunch of different mediums here. We're streaming on Instagram, we're streaming on Facebook, we're streaming on YouTube, we're streaming on Periscope, aka Twitter. I tell you what, if I had another phone, I'd be streaming on TikTok as well. In fact, I got to think about getting a second phone just so I can do that. Actually, we want to be on all of them at the same time. That's the goal, right? We want to get the word out, the news out, the information out on what's happening on Haiti, what's happening from a business perspective, from an economic perspective. I want to welcome folks as you guys pile in. I want to say good morning to everyone, per usual, per always. It's Sundays, precious of you guys. You got a lot of things you guys got going on. A lot of errands, a lot of things. And so the fact that you guys are spending the time to educate and inform yourselves, it's always a humble honor, particularly because I may not be the prettiest. Usually the numbers we get here on Haiti Biz News is equivalent to a pretty girl dancing to something on live. So the fact that we have so many folks who want to be informed, that gives me hope for not only humanity, but for Haiti as well. So like pile in. Make sure you share the stream, share the live, get some folks in here. The hope and goal is to provide education to us, to ourselves, because I mean we can't do anything without being informed. We cannot do a thing. Avant de commencer, il est très important que nous un petit temps créole là parce qu'il y a plein de monde qui a accusé nous là que nous c'est un groupe élitiste. Nous va information dans le langage pour tout haïtien comprendre. Et c'est pas ça lié même, actuellement, c'est un peuple à mieux, Kadzou, qui est c'est pas, non, or, l'idée, c'est un qui est plastique, l'idée, ok, pour te bailler très clair. Simplement, il est très important qu'il y ait un côté qui monde qui pas de base en anglais, il y a recevoir information, qui a comprendre, qui va l'aide net parce que monde du monde, on remet toujours dit que comme sur avion, comme entrer dans l'avion pour n'importe avion, n'importe direction nous pour aller, il y a plus blanc là-dedans, mais en plus, comme après entrer, moi, pile blanc là-dedans, il y a un côté mieux même pour recevoir l'information. Comme dit blanc tout, comprendre que m'a dit blanc tout, pour blanc, mais étranger, en toute couleur. Et en plus, vous connaissez, même moi-même, comme entrer dans le pays, qui ça y est, plus mon qui ça y est, qui ça y est tout. De nous blancs. Est-ce que vous comprenez? Bien, par rapport à ça, il y a un côté qui nous a joué une information claire. Et parce qu'il y a plus le côté ça, c'est celle dans autant de Haïti, c'est dans Fox News, dans CNN, dans Miami Herald, a fini le business pour vendre journal, a fini c'est pas belle bail qui vend journal pour plus côté ça, c'est les mauvaises nouvelles, les mauvaises images et des mauvaises désinformations. Et a fini là, nous pas là pour cacher rien tout, on sait bien. Mais il est important qu'il y ait un côté qui existait online par rapport aux Haïtiens. Nous sommes Haïtiens par rapport aux Haïtiens qui, comme je fais un petit temps de Haïti, comme 80% des temps, 85% des temps, ça a été mieux. C'est une information qui est directe, vous comprenez, et je parle dans un langage que tout le monde peut comprendre parce que, franchement, il faut nous comprendre, il faut nous accepter que, même les créoles, c'est important pour nous, mais langage du monde, langage des affaires, c'est qui ça? C'est anglais. Ok, est-ce que vous comprenez? So, c'est la raison, simplement ça. Effectivement, il faut mettre des petits disclaimers ça dans l'intro, je vais gaspiller trop de temps, mais pas de problème. et pour brasser petit langage créole moi chaque semaine on ça bon petit pratique même les connaît à pile monde yo ba aimer accent gado a toujours dit tout et finalement c'est pas côté nous manquer pour nous recevoir information en créole vraiment nous gain pile côté nous gain Radio Matupol Radio Caribé nous gain et à pile grand nèg donc Guy Wewe donc Johnson Napoléon donc Chocal là tout le monde ça yo et c'est qu'a toujours c'est pas information en créole les gens préfèrent mais qui était espace ça spécifiquement comme un espace que tout le monde du monde car c'est information tête fouette claire a fait des concentré par sur politique par grimace par d'autres mais bah qui a vraiment avancé pays. OK frère accès moi merci en pile. Right? As per usual, as my little disclaimer in Creole, letting folks know nothing but love and respect for Creole, but we just gotta take a step back and understand that most people who speak English primarily, they have so many few places to receive information on what's going on in Haiti, and minus Fox News, CNN, Miami Herald. I mean, they're only around when there's something spectacular and something particularly negative to report. And so we're around 24/7 and we're providing it all, right? And most important, progression that's happening in the country, in addition to things that are hampering that progression. We want to focus on things that give us a bit of hope. And more importantly, we always talk about it in a tone and in perspective of progression and what we can do, right? So again, thank you so much. I want to take a quick second here to just say what's up to a few folks I have coming in the chat here. We got Willie Pierre, good morning. We got Dalutia Datus, excuse him, no Mamo de Boa, excuse him. Arlene Wade, what is up? Good to have you. JJ in the house, what's up? Cat M, what's up? JD, what's up? We got Ernest Nicola, what's up, brother? Edwin, yeah. New York is up there here, represented through Edwin. We got Juliet, so nice she had to name herself twice. Thank you, Ernest. Appreciate the 7K. We are at 7K. We're working hard to get to that golden 10K because 10K, some really cool stuff starts to happen in terms of YouTube and what YouTube allows you to start doing. For example, it allows you to do stories, for example. That would be real cool to be able to communicate with my audience directly. Right now, one place you can really communicate offline is through IG stories. And I do welcome you guys to go to IG and follow me out there. If you guys aren't following me, a lot of in-between stuff, behind-the-scenes stuff gets posted there. So Seejeanty, same name on Instagram while we wait to get to that golden 10K number. Bounce Bougie 11, always happy to see Bounce Bougie, a stalwart, always in the bar, hanging out, waiting to chat it up. Good to have you, Bounce Bougie. We got JD, what's up? Sam St. Louis, I said, nous là, oui. Même fois moi Sam St. Louis dans le chat là. Assurez que vous hit subscribe là, assurez vous hit like là. Assurez que vous partagez, okay? France Camille, what's up? Good to have you, man. Merlan, Laurentine Martin, what is up? What is up? Skyrim, first time I'm seeing you in the chat. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and make sure you share the video. Skyrim, happy to have you in the chat today. We got Arlene Wade, what's up? We got Jordan D. First time I'm seeing Jordan D. Babli et Jordan, man, like, get busy bouton rouge là, subscribe, like bouton, partagez, okay? We got Reginald Jean Bart. What is up? Happy Sunday, Reginald. Reginald, by the way, I do know you hit me with some DMs. Feel free and drop it. Any questions you have, drop it here in the chat. It was the best way. I got so much stuff I'm trying to juggle. It's very hard for me to make time for the DMs, unfortunately. So feel free and ask those questions here. I'm sure a lot of other folks could gain from those questions you're sending my way. We got LM. Good morning. What's up? Isaac Dupas Work. What's up? Sakpase Nabule James Official. Definitely press that like for sure. Thank you. Ronald Etienne, what's up? Yo, man, I'm happy to have you back in the chat, Ronald. Good to have you. We got Lawrence in the house. Lawrence Gonzalez. Always a pleasure to see Lawrence in the chat. Lawrence is someone who is as game-changing as I am. I want to say he is doing things at a level, an individual, personal level. You need to follow him. He's neighborhood finance guy. One word, the neighborhood finance guy on Instagram. He's helping really empower this generation of Haitians, because we can't do anything. We can't expect to do anything in Haiti if your personal finances, if your personal situation is right. I tell this story all the time. Before I moved to Haiti, before I started doing what I'm doing, guess what I did, guys? Guess what I did? I made sure my student loans were paid off. I made sure my credit cards were paid off. I made sure that my car loan was paid off. I made sure my financial situation in America was solvent and solid credit score, all that before I went to Haiti. And remember, because you can't help yourself if you aren't helped. It's just like a plane's falling. If you don't pull that gas mask on yourself before you help others, you're not helping anyone, because you're going to die, and everyone dies, right? So do check out Lawrence's page. He's doing some really great stuff on Instagram and Facebook. He has a website out too. So Lawrence, feel free and drop all that information if you so choose. But the neighborhood finance guy, one word. JD's in the house. What's up? Good morning. We got Jameson Daiti. Good morning. We got Angeline Celestine in the house. Good morning. Good morning. We got Kurt Suna. First, I'm seeing Kurt in the chat. Kurt, man, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. Jojo Kavai TV, same thing. I'm seeing a little emoji, but good morning. Happy to have you, and make sure you hit that subscribe, hit that like button. Hope to see you again next week. We got Daniel Dodard. What is up, man? The episode BPO was incredible. Thanks for saying that. Make sure you share that video and like that video, because we haven't. In fact, let me hold off on that conversation. We'll have a conversation about that in a moment. Yours truly, PL. Always happy to have yours truly, PL, in the house. Happy to have you. All right. So again, good morning. Just want to spend some time and say good morning. What's up to a lot of the folks I'm seeing piling in. My next new top of the headline before we get started with the news stories today is the fact that I'm gonna drop this announcement. One of the first things I want to drop, and that is the personal revisions for the book is complete. I'm gonna say that again. The personal revisions for the book I'm working on is complete. In fact, just for FYI, for those who may have missed the fact that I'm working on a book, the title of this book is 101 Ways to Make Money in Haiti, Lucrative Business Ideas, Insightful Success Stories, and Interesting Business Opportunities for Visionary Entrepreneurs. Yes, it is a mouthful. It is a mouthful, but it's one of those things that, again, a lot of folks reach out to me. A lot of folks, and I feel bad. I'm not in a position to respond to all these people who reach out to me daily. Say, hey, Seejeanty, I love what you're doing. How can I help? I want to do something similar. I want to move back to Haiti. I want to impact. I want to do X, Y, and Z. And trust me, man, I just don't have the time and bandwidth to respond to everyone. This book is a way for me to one-stop shop. All these questions that I've gotten over the years that I've been doing this, I've put them in this resource, right, to really help guide and drive those conversations, those as a pathway, as a guidebook to be able to impact. One of the most common questions I get is, okay, hey, I don't even have an idea. What idea? Like, are there ideas available? And first off, I tell them there's 101 ideas. In fact, there's probably 1,000 ideas. I just distilled it to the 101st most practical, most possible ideas available, right, for us and to us, right. And another reason why I wrote this book, I'm writing this book, is that, again, as one of Ernest just said, we hit 7K subscribers. A lot of folks reach out to me and really want to encourage me, and I thank you guys so much. A lot of you guys, between the sharing and the liking and the commenting, which is always much appreciated. You guys always want to say, okay, how do I help further? I want to financially potentially help, right? And as much as I could do merch, and I can do, look and reach out for some sponsors and all that, that's great. But remember, I have a mission here. The mission here is to what? Help fundamentally change Haiti, right? But I can't do it alone. Fundamentally, I'm here to, inform folks, but then work with folks to impact that change, right? Fundamentally. And so that book is there to do that, to be a primary instrument. And so instead of T-shirts and calendars and a bunch of, coffee mugs, it's not going to help Haiti, right? How does that help the country? Instead, I want to give you guys a book. So those we're going to give anyways, here's a book. Here's a book that you can read, and reading this book should give you a pathway forward to impact and make the country a better place, right? Make the country finally be where it should be, right? And that's really the driving desire here for this book, is really, for those who looking to support in the book, it's a win-win where I'm supporting you, right? So the whole point, I'm taking some time out and announcing that where the personal revisions are over, is that I'm doing an all call. I'm doing an all call for my entire audience, right? If there's any editors that, and I'm talking about, guys who have maybe a background in English, a background in grammar, a background in who've done it in different capacities, who, manuscript reading and suggestions. Again, I don't want just some guy who wants to read the book early. I want someone who's qualified, right? And of course, you're going to have to tell me how you're qualified, by the way, but I'm going to drop my email. Let me go ahead and grab it. Where is that email of mine? I'm going to drop my email, and I want someone in my audience right now who's watching this to reach out to me. You're going to be compensated, first and foremost. I want to, say, this is, hey, help me out, and for something I'm about to make money on, right? You're going to be compensated, right? But I want to reach out, and we'll talk about that, what compensation price point is. Let you know what budget I have in mind, if that works for you guys personally. But I want to have an editor reach out to me. I want some help, right? Because I did my personal revisions, but I want someone else to take a look at it who's a professional and make sure this is really going to be a top-notch quality book that is going to help everyone who reads it, anyone who reads it. And so not only from just, hey, is this making sense? Is this section? I already did the grammar and everything, took a lot of time to do that, but just I want a real editor who does, grammar and that, and also idea flow and suggestions, critiquing, and I need that professional. So if you're that person, I just drop my email, right? It's in the chat, right? It's in the chat on YouTube and Facebook. And even those who are watching on IG, if you want to go to Facebook, YouTube, on the description of the video, you'll see my email, right? Reach out to me. We'll talk, and hopefully somebody today will reach out to me. I want to get this book out before the end of December. That's my goal, or before the end of December. So as soon as you guys can reach out to me, the sooner you guys can read it, proofread it, and we can get this bad boy in print. That's where I want to be. So that was announced. I want to spend some time doing on that, talking about that. And I look forward to working with you, whoever you are. I look forward to working with you directly. All right. So I'm in America right now. As I just mentioned, I'm in America. In the top I mentioned. That's one reason you don't see the usual background behind me. And I'm here because first off, I've been in Haiti for a couple months. I was like coming back once in a while to the parents and the brothers, etc. They're still here stateside, so got to see them, got to make time for the family. But more than anything, I came to vote. I came to vote. This is an incredibly important election. As Haitians, we have a lot riding on this election. We got TPS riding on this election. We have things happening in Haiti that some of us may or may not agree with, and certainly the Trump administration has made very clear what their stance is on things, and whether or not you agree with it or not. That's one way to make your voice heard, is through the elections here in America. A lot of folks are saying, well, we need self-determination. We can't, be depending on what does it matter, who's in office. But the reality is, since 1804, Haiti has been a part of the geopolitical situation. Since 1804, we've been a part of that situation. And so it's very important to be a part and partake in the things happening in the country, in the world. And in particular, if you're a U.S. citizen, that so much of what Haiti does and can do and can't do determines on the policies of America. And so if you're a Haitian with the citizen with the capacity to vote, it's very important to impact that opinion directly into this machine that is the United States. And even those who are not necessarily focused on Haiti per se, but who are actually just full-time residents in America, listen, you're here. You're in this pool of water, and your participation in this pool of water through voting is directly tied to your well-being. The legal environment that you're in, the financial opportunities, ultimately, per what the government can do, cannot do. Your health is a part of this, what you're voting for, right? Because 4 more years of a particular party will mean that, you will be potentially without health care, right? Because, that's a central tenet of one particular party, to remove your health care. So I'm not here necessarily to tell you how to vote. I'm not even going to tell you who I voted for, right? But I'm just telling you, you have to, right, participate, right? You have to participate, because the numbers amongst our generation, this sort of 18 to 35-ish, younger group, is so horrendously low, right? I mean, you have more folks who vote on American Idol, The Voice, than they do in things that directly impact them. So I encourage you to make sure you participate. There's only 2-3 days left. Please vote. Please reach out to anyone you know who may have not voted or you don't know, and make sure they voted. Offer to take them to the polls, and do your part, because we cannot be voiceless. Right? It's so many folks have died for this privilege, who have fought for this privilege, and we cannot let that go to waste. We cannot go to waste this opportunity. Right? So I want to thank you for that. Actually, I see something here. We got Seejeanty. Richard, I think. Richard, we're gonna reach out to you, Richard. I'm gonna reach out to you. Actually, I do remember you wrote over 24 books, and I do remember now that I did talk to you about this book coming out, and we're gonna be in touch. So, Richard, I guess let me make a little note for myself here. Reach out to Richard on Chit Chat. All right. So thanks, Richard, for that. There, I got you, brother, and thanks in advance. Right. Next up, we have something. Really got to talk about. Quick side note, really quick. For those who don't know, tonight the clocks are turning back. Fall back, FYI. Fall back. So don't forget to change your time, or at least very least understand your cell phone might automatically change your time for you. So just be careful with that. A quick service note for you guys. Another quick thing I want to mention too is next week there will be no Haiti Biz news. Okay. The next week there will be no Haiti Biz news. There's a lot of stuff I'll be doing next week. It's gonna be just a really cool episode I'm bringing together. I'll just tell you what it is actually. So for those who may not know, my father, right, spent 20+ years outside the country, and he's actually going to be coming to the country in the following week, right? And so no day, I can't give him no dates, right? My dad's like, oh, you're giving people the dates, but nonetheless, we're gonna be very busy doing different things, okay? And so so that's one of the big reasons why, and that's what I'm actually gonna be filming. And so one of the upcoming episodes for Seejeanty is gonna be that exodus, that story of my pops coming back to Haiti in 20+ years. So look out for that. I'm really excited about that episode. Make sure you're subscribed and hit that notification button so you can catch that episode when it drops, right? I don't usually go too personal on my stuff on Seejeanty, but this is gonna be probably my most personal episode after my proposal video when I proposed to my wife, actually. So I guess I'm correct. I guess I do go pretty damn personal on this channel. Right? So make sure you check that. It's gonna be coming out very soon. By the way, as always, you guys are my co-hosts, for this. Make sure you drop a comment, as you just saw. I do try to read, and we'll read everything that's written down. So make sure because again, it's a conversation we're having, and there's it's not I want to monopolize it. I don't know everything there is to know. Certainly, I learn a lot of things on air while reporting the news. We spend a lot of time researching, but still, folks who've been living in the country 20-30+ years, you got your opinion, your word has a lot of weight, right? And your perspective has a lot of weight. So I do welcome you guys to share. Don't be shy. It's only words. It's only words, right? So do leave a comment. I dropped that banner underneath there. You see, a lot of different information. We have Partage Live, that very important. And we also have that Square Cash right next to it for those who want to contribute in a different way, directly, and your contributions, by the way, do go to the war chest. In fact, I can share this with you. At the end of November, we're going to be doing a Jack Mail shoot. We're going to be going to Jack Mail and putting together an incredible package of episodes. And we're going to be able to do that because of the contributions that a lot of folks have made directly to the YouTube, during the stream, and also to Square Cash, because I have a team behind me. When we go out and we do these sort of things between hotels, food, transportation, about the different things, the cost can rack up pretty high. And one of the critiques I do get about Seejeanty is that Seejeanty, you're in Port-au-Prince all the time. Go out to the provinces, and Jack Mail is usually the biggest one that folks have really been critiquing me about not doing. a Jacmel episode yet, even though recently I did go out there and did have a good time on a personal vacation. I was like, you know what, I'm going to do this right and do a proper Seejeanty series on Jacmel because it was just so much to do in such a beautiful town. And again, but that's going to happen because of the contributions you guys have made. And so it's there for those who want it. It's going to happen either way, but it certainly helps subsidize because it's your boy out here doing it solo dolo, as they say. And so things like that do help. The only time I'm going to ask rest of the episode, and thanks in advance for those who are motivated. But again, you help tremendously simply by sharing. Sharing is free, right? Share this live right now, directly with friends, family, on your Facebook feed. However, share it right now. Get more folks in here because at the end of the day, the goal is to inform, right? The goal is to inform, right? Okay. So I want to say what's up to a few folks here before I read the headlines really quick. Let's see what folks are saying here. Let me see what folks are saying. IG, I want to make sure IG gets some attention, right? So let me go through here on IG and see what folks are saying. We got DD saying the others are bad news for business. You're the only ones to follow. I appreciate that, DDWD. I appreciate that, brother. Thank you so much. Shid Lu says, let's go, Haiti Biz News. Fantastic. Appreciate that. Let's see what else folks are saying here. Come on now. Big old thumb of mine. Let's see. We got viewers. The biggest help to Haiti is to buy from Haiti. That's right. You're absolutely right. Jackson, that's right. Book is getting there. It's getting closer. It's getting closer, right? Do you believe Kanye will build in Haiti? I tell you what, you may critique Kanye out. Kanye has a lot of things to be critiqued about, but I can tell you one thing: he's very successful, right? He's a billionaire, potentially multi-billionaire, right? And so, listen, whatever your personal opinion is of him because of his political rantings, he gets things done, right? And so, we need more of that in Haiti, right? That's my perspective, right? Let's see, what else are folks saying? We got a little conversation going on in here. All right, I'll let you guys conversate on that. Good stuff. Always happy to see some back and forth. And Nini Move It says, what made you move back to Haiti? Effectively, the fact that it's even a question made me move back to Haiti, right? It should be an obligation for all of us to move back to our country and impact. Because how can you sit and just say, oh, and watch the news and be mad at and blame people? And you're able-bodied, you got 2 hands, you got 2 feet, you got a smart mind. Why aren't you impacting? Right? Why aren't you doing something about it? Right? And that's effectively why we went back. I'm back to Haiti because I'm not someone who just watches TV and just says, gosh darn it, something needs to happen. Right? Gosh darn it. And even if Haiti was not in a troublesome state, I still move back. I move back just because, hey, I'm Haitian and I want to be in a Caribbean country, in a land that defeated oppressors, right? I mean, that would be a reason alone to go back, right? So that's short of it, right? No, I don't need any particular reason. I just want to be back. Simple as that. Let's see what folks are saying in the chat really quick before I get Mike Colin. What's up, man? Good morning. Good to have you today. In the chat, we got Angeline Celestine. I answered that, but we'll hopefully drop for the end of December with the help of my editor, who's going to reach out to me after this. We got Maye Saint Germain. That's great. Happy to have you. One of my first book purchases already declared. That's what's up. Got Sony St. Clair. What's up? Good morning, brother. We got Jordan D. Happy to have you. Is there going to be a crowd audition? Excuse me. Absolutely. In fact, the moment that my editor finishes helping me get this book properly tailored and looking right, we're immediately going to start working on the Creole version. In fact, I got some folks in my office right now who is going to be working on that just about full time. And so the book's going to come out in English initially, and hopefully within a few months, we're going to have the Creole version. So don't you worry about that. There will be a Creole version. I am going to make English and Creole. I am not going to do French because French is a useless language, which I wish Haiti would drop. Yeah, I said it. I'm sorry. French is absolutely useless. And the day we move away from French, the better it will be. In fact, I'll be frank, I wish we just could do Creole. But English is an international language of business. So in terms of utility, you should be speaking English. Hell, I'd probably speak Mandarin
translate my book to Mandarin before I translate it to French. In fact, I probably in terms of utility, right? I probably should be speaking Spanish. It should be English, Spanish, Creole. Well, actually, Creole, English, Spanish would probably be the language order. If they ever made the mistake and made me president. But anyways, that's a little side rant. All of a sudden, I'm sure I pissed off somebody. But listen, French is totally useless on this side of the hemisphere. We got Cassandra Citrus. Good morning. What's up? Listening at work. Happy to have you. Wesley Campway, always live from Hollywood. I'm not too far from Wesley. I'm not too far from you. Believe it or not, I'm here down here, South Florida. Good to have you in the chat, Wesley. Richard, again, I'm going to reach out to you. We're going to chat. Bounce Bougie 11. Certainly. We try to avoid as much as we can. Certainly, it's about business and advancement and trying to make it do what it do. Right. Let's see here. Let's go ahead and block this GNME user with his spam. All right. Goodbye. Have a good day, Gene. We got Jordan D. Mission statement. That's right. Philly Dom's in the house. Always good to have Philly Dom. Got to give Philly Dom some appreciation. Philly Dom is doing some really great stuff. When he's in Haiti right now, he's in DR. You got to get back to Haiti, Philly. Come on, man. The fans, the people are demanding a Philly D Seejeanty collaboration, man. What are you doing? What are you doing, Philly? You're breaking hearts, man. We're waiting on you, Philly. Just come in for a weekend. Come in, we'll do the episode, fly back out, man. Come on, man. Philly, what's going on? Philly Dom people, let's go give him a follow. He's doing some great stuff. Isaac Dupre, what's up, man? Good morning. We got Bobby D. What's up, brother? Happy to have you. We got Lord Mercy TV. Reason why they will change Haitian constitutions to put something in favor. We're going to be talking about the Haitian Constitution. I'm not too sure about this new world order stuff, but we'll talk about some things in a moment. We should start calling our language Haitian and Creole. I believe me. Listen, don't say that too loudly, Kiando. Don't say that too loudly because folks will come for your head. And there's a lot of Haitians who are very much about keeping things the way they are and not challenging the status quo. And the last time I voiced that, it got picked up by some major places, the Union Suite, and the majority of these comments were coming from my head, right? So be careful. I continue tunde. A lot of Haitians do not like to be challenged, like to sit in their bubble and not be challenged. Apparently, it's Haitian Creole, and that's what it is. That's what it always going to be, right? Rather, instead of the French calling their language French, the Spanish calling their language Spanish. Sorry, Spain calling their language Spanish, and the English calling their language English. And of course, the first thing you hear is, well, the Americans call their language English. Okay, all right. But what do the English call it? Cool, right? But in any case, we're not here to cause controversy today. We'll let folks stay in their safe bubble and continue to call Haitian Creole for the time being, right? Let's see. Let's keep scrolling down. Let's see. We got our Cookie providing a perspective saying, hey, as much as I hate French history, I can't fully go against it because of our other fellow African countries. But here's the thing. I hear what you're saying, Rookie Cookie. But where is Haiti? Haiti isn't in Africa. Haiti's over here on the Western Hemisphere. Last I checked, the African Union denied our request to join the African Union. Believe it or not, it happened in the early 2000s or so, right? And so the African Union made it very clear we're not part of Africa, okay? And so since we're on the Western Hemisphere, surrounded by Spanish-speaking countries and neighbors to the most economically opulent country in the world that speaks English, it behooves us to have our primary languages actually be useful for us in engaging the economic geopolitical sphere, right? And I'm sorry, we're not doing anything with Africa. I wish we were, but we're not, right? Instead, we're doing a lot of things with Latin America. We're doing a lot of things with America, okay? And so we should position ourselves in a manner that most benefits us. And that order should be Creole, English, Spanish. It be drop this French crap. French does not help us in any way, right? French is already something we have to learn, right? Everyone speaks Creole, but French is something we have to learn. We have to learn something. It should be a language that actually is helpful and useful for us, I mean, hell, I do this. I do Creole, English, Spanish, Mandarin before I even think about French. I'm being honest. Anyways, I hear what you're saying, Rookie Cookie, but that's just, I'm just trying to just being just a rational guy, just looking at it rationally, right? Juliet in the house saying I'm in Haiti as we chat. Very peaceful. Everybody's minding their business. That's usually almost how it always is, right? We got what else going on? We got Vino saying blah blah blah. Okay, merci pour ça, right? And a couple other folks going on here. They music lover. They only eventually agreed to say Haitian Creole when some more educated Haitians say we can't just call it our language Creole because it's Martinique, Guadeloupe, and Creole. I know. A lot of perspectives and opinions, right? Cabo Verde has a Creola. Chisaw has a language called Creole. The language called Creole. The term Creole is a European used to European mix. Absolutely, right. And I can't speak to other Creoles because other Creoles are actually Creoles. They're not really languages. They're just broken down versions of a main language. But Haitian Creole is its own language, man. It's legit its own thing. Like we have our own alphabet. We have our own grammar and syntax. I mean, it's its own thing. Anyways, so the headlines. What are the headlines? Let's talk about the headlines today. We're going to be talking about COVID very briefly. We got the new constitutional update. We're going to be talking about that. Major conflicts at the Dominican border. That's going to be talked about today. And the exchange rate. And the exchange rate is going to be talked about today. So we got some things we're going to be talking about. So much of the news has been concentrated on the Constitution. It's really been taking the headlines. And most businesses are kind of in a very tight spot. That's why it hasn't been much other news right now. Last week we talked about the airlines and etc. But this week it's pretty tight in terms of news stories because I mean, just personally, as I speak to people, speak to business owners, they're really very much in a tighten the belt hold pattern as they try to deal with this exchange rate situation. But we're going to be talking about that. We are going to be talking about that today. Okay, let me drink a little bit of water, and we're going to talk about the first news story. Right. So the first news story has to do with the COVID numbers. And I'll be honest with you, I don't, before I was taking it what the COVID numbers were, I do take a glance, make sure they're going down indeed. But the COVID numbers have continued to go down. Active cases, deaths have ticked very slowly as well in Haiti. Same thing in Dominican Republic. We have had a decrease in active cases and deaths in the country. And so that's what we want to see. I know a lot of us are fatigued with COVID. I'm fatigued with COVID. And so mine is to say it's on the decrease. Although I do expect it's going to uptick at some point because we have so many Haitians from abroad coming into the country. I mean, when you look at, I think this December is probably going to be one of the most, if you're in tourism, you're happy if you survived the last 2-3 years and didn't close your doors like Best Western did. Boulogne-sur-Mer breaks my heart, but Boulogne-sur-Mer has closed their doors. And so many other smaller places have closed their doors because between the economic crisis, between COVID, between Pays Loc, so in between the level 4 advisory, it's been really tough on Haiti tourism, and a lot of good places have closed their doors. And so for the places who have not closed their doors, there is a bonsai. It's a bonsai, right? Because, in fact, I was for the ALS, the IT Ling service episode, which is on the property of Du Cameroon. I mean, it was packed, though they told me it was 70%. I'm gonna take their word for it, but I can tell you it was easily the most I've seen at Du Cameroon, and that was about a month ago, maybe, right? We expect December to be very action-packed, really, because so many places are so restrictive. You look at Massachusetts, New York, a lot of places where Haitians are. A lot of very restrictive policies. And in Canada's so crazy right now. And like in Montreal and a lot of Haitians, there's literally policies in place where you can't have more than one person over your house, right? Otherwise, you can get with different types of sanctions. And so a lot of patients are looking to leave where they're coming and come into Haiti to enjoy themselves. But that also brings the risk of COVID, right? And so I'd be surprised, and I think would generally start to question these COVID numbers if we don't see an uptick around January, right? Just naturally, there has to be an uptick. There has to be, right? So the hope is the uptick will be reasonable, or it won't spike beyond where we've been. So we'll see. But as it stands right now, COVID numbers have been decreasing and continue to decrease, right? And again, we're seeing all across the world. COVID numbers are ticking up. European countries where things were more or less under control, we're seeing massive upticks. So it's only natural, it's only logical that Haiti should also see a slight uptick. Right? So we'll see. Right? Next news story has to do with the new Haitian Constitution. Right? Things are moving forward. Things are moving forward with the new Haitian Constitution. We got to talk about it. Right? A lot of folks who disagree with it. A lot of folks who say this won't happen. This isn't going to occur. Right? It's unconstitutional. Meanwhile, I'm just looking at it like, yo, it's the nearest of it happening than it's ever happened in the 20 plus years that every president who's come through has complained and said that the Constitution is a problem, right? From the perspective of someone who sees the argument, you have a president voted to provide the will of the people, but yet you have a prime minister who reports directly to Congress, Parliament, right? And where you have Parliament who basically just fight over who's going to be running ahead of a ministry so they can ultimately get their money, get some money out of it. And which, if there was a situation where the Parliament was actually effective, actually doing its job, actually doing policy, right? Then great, the structure would work. But that's not what happens in Haiti, right? We have a class of parliamentarians who do not do their jobs. In fact, they do the anti-job, right? And so if you actually do have a reform-based president hired to do reforms, it's absolutely impossible to do it in Parliament. Now, of course, a lot of folks will say, hey, Piastica had a majority. So what are you talking about? Piastica had a majority, and they could have ran and could have done anything he wanted to do. But were you not watching the news? Were you not watching and paying attention? Were you not coming to Haiti Biz News and me sharing stories where, just 4 senators were able to literally take out the furniture out of the Senate, and out of the House, out of the Chamber of Deputies, put it outside, right, to prevent votes from happening. And you couldn't do anything to the deputies, the 4 deputies I did, because they're immune from criminal prosecution while they're elected, right? Were you not there? Did you not have 2 eyes and see that, right? And then, well, they had the majority. How can you exercise the majority if you can't even vote? Because you have 4 senators out of 100 plus deputies that can do things like take out furniture out of the entire chamber, and nothing. Police can't stop them. You can't stop them because they have immunity against prosecution of any form. Like literally, we talk about this. We talk about how in Haiti, deputy or a senator can whip out their gun, shoot somebody in the head in front of a market, and nothing happens to them. And a lot of folks say, "Well, Seejeanty, you're being a little hyperbolic here, buddy. Come on, you're being a little you're exaggerating a little there, buddy. Come on." I challenge you to go to Google right now and type in Haitian deputy pulls out gun, and you'll be surprised what happens. You're going to see deputies just last year or year before pulling out in front of everybody at the crowd, shooting up in the air. But while he's whipping out, he's shooting. And actually a journalist gets shot in the face. I'm saying it again. Maybe y'all didn't hear me. A senator/deputy whipped out his gun, sprayed it. Journalist gets shot in the face. Thank God he lived. Wow, God is great. And guess what? Nothing happened to him because of what I just told you. Senators and deputies have total 100% immunity in Haiti, right? So again, you're in a situation where a constitution allows Parliament to have total control over everything, but yet it's being run by a absolutely corrupt to the core group of people who have only their self-interests in mind, right? And the Constitution allows this, right? And I'm not saying I'm for this change, but I'm saying doing the same thing over and over and expecting a difference is insanity. Right? Expecting a difference is insanity. Right? And that's where I'm at. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Right? That's all I'm saying. It's absolute insanity. Right? And so, currently, as we talked about previously, right? Talked about this previously. There's support for this in the international community. The United Nations have actually come out and actually supported the new Constitution, right? But interestingly, this week, finally, the United States the State Department was relatively quiet about the happenings of Jovenel and this new Constitution. Finally came out with a statement. The Michael G. Kozak, who's the Assistant Secretary for the State Department, Assistant Secretary of State for Hemispheric Affairs, wrote this week. He wrote that the Haitian Parliament must be reestablished as soon as possible for Haiti to return to democratic path. The Haitian democratic institutions should determine the legal mechanisms for constitutional change with the contribution of civil society. Right? The problem is that there is no way that this parliament is going to vote for anything that lowers their powers and lowers their capacity. In fact, there was a constitutional set of amendments that were supposed to be passed just before the end of the last parliament, and it never got voted on, never went to the floor, right? Because the parliament was so busy blaming a figurehead president for the inefficiencies of their governance, right? And so anyone, Michael G. Kozak, God bless your soul, God bless your heart, buddy. You know nothing about Haiti. You know nothing about how corrupt these set of folks who are running things are and how they prefer things the way they are. I think that statement is very tone deaf to the realities of how the Haitian government runs and operates, right? I'm not saying I don't disagree with him, but I think a very short, by the way, this came from Twitter, by the way, so of course you can't necessarily be particularly deep in your Twitter statements, but to me, I think it doesn't capture the difficulties of what it means to run Parliament run things and try to progress with a Parliament that is entrenched with keeping things the way they are. A small set of senators can derail things completely just because they feel their will and what they want to do isn't being pushed, right? And so where we are with the new Constitution is that President Jovenel Moise has actually put an advisory group. He put an advisory group to set up the new draft Constitution. He said that he wants the elections are going to be in March. He wants the referendum to be to exist and be passed before the election. So I suspect that before the end of December, we should have a draft version of the Constitution to be read. Look forward to reading that here on Haiti Biz News and see what ultimately is going to be proposed. We have a strong, Jovenel Moise has indicated himself that the right to vote is going to be very clearly enshrined in this Constitution. And more importantly, there needs to be a process. There needs to be a process in place for Haitian diaspora to practice their dual nationality, right? Because as it stands right now, just a lot of folks are always shocked when I tell them this, that you as a Haitian person, you can be a dual national of Haiti. A lot of folks are always surprised the amount of folks who don't know this. Since 2012, you can have a passport of Haiti while having a passport of America. Since 2012, you can actually, so long as your parents are Haitian, you have the full rights of Haitian citizenship, as if you were born in Haiti and never left. The only restrictions currently is that you can't run for parliament, you can't be a head of any minister, you can't be president. But beyond that, you can be a full functioning citizen if you hold a second passport. A lot of folks don't know this, which is, have you not been watching me? Have you not been watching Haiti Biz news? I don't quite understand, how this is still news to anyone, but it's news, right? But the thing is, it's very hard to exercise that right because Parliament was supposed to, after that amendment, pass laws. Pass laws. By the way, it was always important for me to mention, in over 5 years, Parliament only passed 5 laws. That's a law a year, right? While being the most expensive parliament in the Caribbean. And out of those 5 laws, one had to do with making compa a national cultural item. Yeah, that's certainly a priority, right? I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not disparaging compa. I love my compa. It's important for me. But I would think making it easier to do business, improving the legal structure to protect people who are investing, making sure police officers have salaries that are pegged to inflation so they can actually function appropriately, and providing protections for teachers and education, and earmarking specific regulation for roads and electricity and clean water and agriculture. All these things should technically take priority. And the other big law that was passed by Parliament, God bless this Parliament, was an anti-money laundering legal structure that literally the United States said, if you guys don't freaking pass what we've been telling you to pass, you're going to be removed from the banking environment and banking structure of the world, right? At least because you're not able to do business banking with America. You're basically blockade from doing finance with the world. And literally they had a deadline. They didn't reach it. There had to be an emergency session that the U.S. Embassy held the hand of Parliament to finally get it passed and allow that Haiti to remain a part of the global banking system. And that's what Parliament has been doing for so long. And I think I had something very important I was connecting this to, but not in any case. The advisory group is moving forward, and I think I was talking about the benefits. Thank you. I remember now. I was talking about the benefits of this new constitution, and so the Parliament never exercised the pathway for you as a Haitian descendant, so mom and dad who's Haitian, but you were born in America, for example, to be able to very legally, smoothly just say, hey, look, like for example, here's my mom's birth certificate from Haiti. It clearly says, you're born in Kafu, right? See her name? Okay, check this out. Here's my birth certificate from America, right? Check this out. See her name? See her name on it? See this? This is me, okay? And give me all my paperwork now so I can function legally, right? There's no process for that. There isn't. People learn there isn't. Right? There isn't a straightforward legal process. You can still get it. You can still get it, but there's no legal means to do it, right? Which is very problematic, right? Very problematic. And so, hopefully the Constitution will enshrine that process in place, right? That's certainly one thing we're looking forward to. Another thing, the part of the new Constitution has been rumored, kind of confirmed, is going to have it's not going to have prime ministers anymore. It's going to be a president, vice president structure, where the president directly controls its cabinet, right? Right now, the president does not directly control the cabinet. The prime minister does that, right? And another very big important piece of the new Constitution is going to have the basically a president can issue a decree, and within 2 to 3 months, if Parliament doesn't vote it down, it becomes law, right? So that's another big thing that the new Constitution is going to have. Those big 3 things we can expect it to have, and so we'll see. Ultimately, everything is just rumored until we see it. None of us should be particularly, ecstatic or optimistic until the draft's in front of us and we can read it, right? Though, but we do suspect that the draft that was being worked on by Jerry Tajil and had a lot of engagement by a lot of non-Piachitica people. Probably is going to be a very important component of that draft, but we'll see. In particular, since that draft did have everything we just talked about, minus the decree order. The decree after 2 months becomes law. Everything else I just mentioned, it'll be in there, right? So, so that's really the news that relates to the new constitution. Just to say, it's moving forward. I hope I gave you some context there from that perspective, and we'll see ultimately what happens. We'll see where we end up in about a month's time, and ultimately what this means for the opposition, right? And just be aware, the winner of this election is going to have a lot to do with how the opposition takes this, right? Because if Biden wins, there is going to be an emboldenment of the opposition, because the Trump administration has been more or less very clear up till now that Jovenel is their guy, and whatever the opposition wants to do, they're not moving away from Jovenel Moise. A Democrat, Biden, may feel inclined to remove Jovenel at the next major pays lock, right? At least we don't know, but I'm sure the opposition will try, right? And so, unfortunately, the entire stability of the country really does ride on this next election. And though, I'm not here to tell you who to vote for, just know that when the consequences of whoever comes to power, we do expect, mark my words, we do expect things to be pretty dicey. And and I'll end it right there, right? So next up has to do with the conflict at the border. Conflict at the Dominican border. I pause real quick, right? Just because I know there's going to be Dominicans rushing in, right? It's one thing I give Dominicans props. Whenever Dominican Republic is mentioned in any form or fashion, we have, we got guys who are ripping off their shirt, super Dominican, flying in. What's going on here, guys? ¿Qué pasó? ¿Qué pasó? What? Right? God bless my Dominican brothers and sisters. If Haiti had this much pride, Haitians had this much pride, right, about Haiti, we'd be in a different place. Usually, Haitians are the loudest and most consistent, disparaging Haiti, right? And other Haitians. Meanwhile, I very rarely ever see Dominicans talking bad about Dominican Republic. I don't know about you guys. I don't see Facebook posts where Dominicans are belittling other Haitians and talking bad. And no matter how incredibly corrupt Dominican Republic may be, per them, right? You hear in the context strictly of that corruption, what needs to be done. You don't hear an entire mass of Haitians just completely belittling Haitians. I mean, literally, I was on a good friend's channel one day, and one of the comments I was reading was, "All Haitians are corrupt." Not Haitian government's corrupt. Literally, all Haitians are corrupt, right? And of course, he gets mad and gets in his feelings when I totally eviscerated this guy, right? Because you're not gonna say that around me and think I'm just gonna take it, and think you're not gonna be challenged, right? And of course, I lived in Haiti, so I have the right to. No, you don't. No, you don't. Number one, because you're not living in Haiti, and number two, you're not doing anything for Haiti right now. That's number one. Number two, right? No other people. I don't know. I don't hear Chinese talking negatively about themselves, right? I don't see many even Africans. Even Nigeria's having some issues right now, right? But the focus is always on the issues, not total one-sided paintings disparaging entire people, including themselves, right? And that might have to do with the self-hate that many Black people, including Haitians, have. And so we have a ways to go in improving our self-confidence as human beings, given the generations of programming that have aided in the self-hate of Haitians and Black people all across the planet. But in any case, we're not here to allow that to happen in front of here. And gladly, I very rarely ever see that in the chat here at Seejeanty. So very happy to report that we don't have a self-hating group of people here. But in any case, we're about to talk about Dominicans, and I do expect Dominicans to come in full force. Right? So there's a few things to talk about that relates to the conflicts at the Dominican border, right? And that has to do with the fact that even though Haiti has opened its border since June 30th, there's still been along the border many places where the Dominicans have not yet opened their border, right? Particularly, for example, over in Wanamet, Jabon, which is basically in the northeast of Haiti. That border has still been closed. There's a very important center actually where Haitians would come and sell their wares at the Jabon Center in the Dominican Republic, and then go back to Haiti in the evenings. But that has been closed. Santiago has closed it. There have been in talks and conversations since June 30th, and it's now November 1st, to open that border. The concerns, it's not clear what the concerns are. If anything, I'd be afraid from the Wanamet side, because the Dominican Republic has so much more cases of COVID, not the other way around. So it's perplexing to me why it's still closed, at least on the Dominican side, right? But the talks are continuing. They're hoping, certainly before the end of the year, that the border can reopen, because that has been a very important economic pipeline for the entire north of Haiti. And so we're keeping an eye on that and hope that does change soon. Interestingly, Haiti has applied a $800 USD customs processing fee to any container coming from the Dominican Republic. And this is news to me. I didn't hear any particular decree published on this, simply that the Dominican Association of Exporters have filed a grievance to the World Trade Organization as relates to this fee. And this fee specifically is applied not on all custom containers, but the ones that are elected to be inspected, right? The ones elected to be inspected or receive a full inspection. There is a $800 USD charge to the company, to the trucker, and ultimately the company that the trucker represents for that, and the container will not be released unless that $800 USD, I'm gonna say that again, $800 is processed, right? It's very problematic, as you can imagine, very expensive. And again, remember, this is on top of the fact that Haitian Customs charges 27% on average on tariffs for many things, right? Amazingly, still, food and other things that can be produced in Haiti has very little tariff. Even though we did announce, if you remember a few episodes ago, there were some important tariff tax changes. Some products were getting as much as 50% tariff. For example, tomato sauce is one thing that got as much as 50% tariff. And this was changed by decree from Jovenel. So I do agree with certain of those things, and we talked about that last episode to why that is, right? But it's putting Dominican Association exporters in a tough spot, right? And they're very angry that they can't, sell their wares in Haiti, because as you know, there's nothing Dominicans like more than kicking Haitians out of their country, but yet making money off Haitians. I made somebody mad. I just made some Dominican mad. But y'all tell me where I'm lying. And so that's the news story. We have this tariff applied on and just strictly Dominican companies, by the way. The other countries aren't getting that treatment at this point in time. And so, sidebar conversation, I think this is necessary. But it's only necessary if the Haitian government simultaneously really does invest in its capacity, right? The Haitian government needs to be fully engaged in working with farmers to improve farmers' agricultural yield, right? Because at the end of the day, if you don't, wow, this looks great on paper, you're still going to cause a lot of misery on Haitians, because now all you're really doing is just making things more expensive with no alternative. It's a supply and demand, right? And if you're making the supply more expensive, because most of our supply is coming in from the Dominican Republic, and you don't create another source of supply, i.e. the domestic national market, right? You're not putting yourself in a position to really take advantage of this, and you're not putting your country in a position to be better off, right? But I can tell you though, one of the things we've been reporting, if you come here consistently on Haiti Biz News, you know that actually that there's been a lot of development in the agricultural sector for Haiti between the United Nations, USAID, IDB, doing a lot of development. Taiwan has been developing a lot of solar pumps to help with getting farmers access to water from underground consistently. A lot of been, and then there's been the seed facilitation centers that have been providing, it's free to very reduced seeds to farmers so they can grow and plant things. And these facilitation centers, give Jovenel Moise some credit, has started under him. And I reported this almost 2 years ago when the first one came online. And now we have almost four seed facilitation centers across the country, because of President Jovenel Moise. So again, we're not for any particular party here on Haiti Biz News. We're not against any president. We're not for any president. We're just for Haiti. We're for the development and for the progress of Haiti. For example, there is a very important dam, and that's going to be ultimately used to not only provide some electricity in the area, but also help with irrigation over in Mayon. That's supposed to be finishing hopefully before the end of the year or early Q1, February, January. And that's going to be a massive help for agriculture as well. So there's been a lot of things happening. So when I say in critique to say, hey, it's one thing to be charging the Dominican border, but are we doing enough? We are doing stuff. Now the question always will be, are we doing enough? Right? That I can't tell you, right, with certainty. But we are doing things certainly to help and assist, right? And then the other Dominican Republic news story has to do with high-level talks between the foreign affairs and the foreign affairs of both countries, because there's been some issues related to the border and the lines of the border. Now, to be clear, there is no talk about changing the border. There's been 3 treaties that have been very clear in defining what the border of Dominican Republic and Haiti is. The 1929, 1935, 1936 treaties and revisions that happened at those years made it very clear what the borders are between the Dominican Republic and Haiti. But interesting, there's been just things that have been happening. For example, Lake Azui. By the way, there's an episode on Seejeanty on Lake Azui. If you haven't seen it, do go check that out. Right, where because the lake has been growing, there's been markers that are placed that are now submerged. Right, and so there's been talks related to, getting the markers up again, right, and ensuring that there isn't any confusion or any other disagreements. Additionally, other things have been talked about. For example, the recent direct conflict, the physical altercation that happened amongst Haitians and Dominican soldiers a few months ago versus the rising and escalation of a Dominican flag on what many Haitians perceived as Haitian land, and unfortunately, that wasn't the case, and it was simply, and if you know anything about Haiti land rights and how land sort of just slowly becomes someone else's, it was an issue. It was a case like that, and a lot of folks who were not aware of the 1936 arrangement and where the lines were actually drawn. Because again, if you know anything about the Andeo, particularly along the border, this line, this quote unquote border between Haiti and Dominican Republic, there's no such thing really, right? The border is so porous. People just literally, there's people who grew up in the Central Plateau, Andeo, who, only when they visited a family member after about 30 years or something in Port-au-Prince, they'll find out that, there's a passport? You need a passport for Dominican Republic? Well, what do you mean? I go there every other weekend to buy stuff and, speak a little Spanish and come back, right? And so that was the reason why the conflict happened a few months ago, and that was another reason why there were high-level talks about ensuring better information is shared with locals along the border, and actually finally Haiti starts to pull its weight, as we talked about last week or the week before. There's over 10,000 Dominican soldiers along the border versus maybe a few dozen Haitian military, and just mostly police, right, along the border. If you want to call that any sort of enforcement of Haiti, of its border, right? And so increasing of policing of Haiti through its own border forces, right, have been talked about. And that's the story as it relates to the Dominican border. The final story we want to talk about today has to do with the exchange rate, right? The Central Bank of Haiti has dropped another, this happened about 2 days ago, there you go, 12 million USD, to keep the currency at its current exchange rate of 62 good for a dollar. You know why I'm taking a pause here. If you've been coming to Haiti Biz News consistently, I've told you, talked about how this currency situation is the worst crisis. When I say this, I don't say this lightly. I talked about level 4 advisory that's been dangerous for Haiti. I've talked about pays lock that's shut down the country for over a year, right? The gas crisis that was utterly devastating the country for long, for ages, right? Gas couldn't come in, cars, trucks, people couldn't buy. The Marriott and Digicel almost was at a point where, a lot of these cell phone towers are operated by diesel, right? Because the electricity rate is non-existent, right? A lot of electricity itself in the country comes from diesel burning, right? This is the worst crisis, right? Because effectively, you have, your expense, for example, payroll. If you're making money in dollars and you're spending in good, when you're at 120 in August, and over just a month you're at 60. It's halved. What that means really is your expense, with the amount of money you needed to make the same amount of good, basically doubles, guys, right? So a lot of your expenses may be salary, may be, parts, food resources, etc. Buying in good in Haiti, you've gotten a doubling of your expenses overnight, without any chance to renegotiate contracts, hire differently, structure relationship differently, really your relationships with your resources differently, just overnight, right? And on top of that, your revenue has halved, right? Because at the end of the day, when you convert those dollars to good, it gives you half of the revenue that it used to give, right? Overnight. And I've said here that, a lot of folks will say, well, is it the currency, the good going in another direction? Is that a good thing? It can be if it's done predictably, if it's done over a period of time where businesses and other economic actors can modify their contracts and their costs, right, appropriately, so that the shock doesn't hit them so hard, so they're not so economically affected, right? And as I told you myself, I had to do some drastic things to keep my businesses open, right? Because again, most of my businesses are U.S. facing. Most of my revenue is in dollars, and so when I'm telling you stuff, I'm not telling you some stuff from some economic theory. I'm telling you from the perspective of I'm a business owner making money in dollars, with most of my expenses were in good, right? I'm just telling you also out of personal experience how devastating this has been. The industry, AIDH, which is Association of Industrial Entities in Haiti, have come out and said, listen, if something's not done, we may potentially, and a lot of textile companies in Haiti are part of this association. If something's not done, we're potentially, out of our 53,000 employees that we employ in Haiti, almost 25,000 may end up losing their jobs because we can't support, things as it is right now. We just can't support it financially for everything the same way I just mentioned and I explained to you, what was going on. But yet, despite all that, the central bank has continued, because all they're saying, by the way, what they're saying about the social industrialists, and even myself, if the currency could even inch back to about 75, even 80, right, and then slowly start to move back to 60, right? I don't think a lot of folks could endure that, right? But they can't endure that 60 right now without any chance to, quickly modify, adjust their salary points. And so the only thing you have left really is either firing a lot of employees or closing your business down. And a combination of both, actually, right? It's happening right now in Haiti. Right? So 12 million USD has been released by the Central Bank of Haiti. And the central bank has made it very clear, and the Jovenel Moise administration, who ultimately directs, the bigger picture activities of the central bank, has made it very clear that they're not moving, they're not budging. They like the currency to be where it's at right now, and helps them tremendously from a budgetary perspective. And that's it. That's it. Deal with it. Goddamn the economy. Goddamn the economic actors who are trying to make a difference in job creation. Goddamn them. That's them to figure out, right? That's effectively what is being said here with this new injection, $12 million USD into the market, right? And so that's where we're at. Right, that's where we are currently. So that's the news stories, right? That's where we are, and I do hope that you guys enjoyed this set of news. A little less news than per usual. We usually have a couple more news stories available, right? But I do want folks to know that a lot of folks say, you have to let me know when. I'm just here for the news, man. Just give me the news and I can bounce. So this is where you guys can bounce. The news is done. And of course, just a reminder, no Haiti Biz news next week, right? We have some things we got to be taking care of, some really cool, interesting stuff we're going to be taking care of. But we will be back. Let's see, the Sunday, the 15th. We'll be back Sunday the 15th, and we'll catch up. We'll do 2 weeks worth of news, right? Instead of just 1 week. We do want to stay on the pulse of what's going on in Haiti, and anything that's particularly relevant, we can't just not talk about, right? With what's going on. And of course, we'll be back in a new world, meaning we'll know who in America is the new president, right? And that will shape the history of the planet. Truly, I'm not being hyperbolic here, guys. Whoever wins this election will shape the future of this planet, and also the future of how Haiti is going to be able to many forward, right? For the many reasons we talked about earlier in this episode, right? Now, that said, I'm going to take a quick break. We're going to read the comments. As I said, we're here for comments, right? We're here to it's a co-host. It's a shared exercise, that we're doing here. And I want to, if you stuck around here the entire time and you wrote a comment, I want to read it. I want to understand your perspective. I want to better appreciate what you have to say. Your opinion is as valued as mine, honestly, truly, right? We're all co-hosts here, right? And so I want to make sure we do that. But before I do that, I just want to take a brief break. And we're going to play the intermission. I will be back in 1 minute. And when I'm back, we're here to read the comments. Okay. All right. Be right back, guys.
Place online where folks can get a CNBC Bloomberg-like focus on what's going on at the Haiti Biz News show, Sunday, 11 a.m. We're here every Sunday, right? 11 a.m. Haiti Biz News show. It's Sundays weekly. This is Seejeanty, Haiti Biz News show. We talk about news, current events as it relates to macroeconomic condition. You can always catch us live every Sunday, 11 a.m. Haiti Biz News show. We are on Facebook, we're on YouTube, and we are on Instagram. You can always catch us 11 a.m. On Sundays. We are live on air. We're going to be talking weekly happenings, focused, economically focused on what has happened. And we're going to dissect it in an unbiased, impartial way. And a big part of what we're doing here, of course, is Haiti Biz News show. You know, I did not see and do not see any place online where folks can get a CNBC Bloomberg-like focus on what's going on at the macro.
Boom. We are back, guys. Welcome, welcome. Thanks for giving me a chance to stretch the legs a little bit, get a breather, and be able to hit these comments and these conversations with full maximum energy, right? And also gives a nice clean break of the show and episode, right? Let's jump into it. The first few set of comments I'm seeing is from about 11:50, right? And so if you wrote before that, or you don't see me addressing your question, do make sure you hit you rewrite that question below. You know, this is your opportunity. A lot of you folks who DM me, I don't have time to respond to folks. And honestly, it's much better if you ask it in public, because if you're asking that question, 20 different people are asking that same question, right? And other folks will be able to gain from that answer, from that insight, right? Or if you have something you want to share or comment, it's much better to share it in this group, right? That we're in, because it gains a lot more people, and the multiplier effect improves and gains considerably. All right. Okay. All right. So anyone who's mad because I haven't been able to respond, here's your chance. Hit me with that question right now. All right. So let's go through them. Let's go through it. Let's go down here a little bit. Read these already. Here we go. We got, let's scroll up a little bit. So you got Colson Nicola. What's up, Colson? Happy to have you in the chat. Says, yeah, people don't understand Creole is a French term for patois. They don't understand that. Yeah, they really don't. Pierre Toussaint, going back to Haiti in 1 month. I agree very much with you. All right, good stuff. I've got Odingo Mubutu. Good to have you, Odingo. Today, it was good to see my African named brother there. DR is scared of the Constitution since it's a move toward nationalism. Perhaps. Jojo says anyone who does not want the constitutional changes is included among those who are part of the corrupt people. I mean, I think you could argue that very effectively. Let's see. LM says, how was your panel at the Haitian tourism? In fact, there were some technical issues, unfortunately, tourism summit that didn't allow a lot of the virtual panelists. I was one of the virtual panelists to participate. Right? Very unfortunate. Very unfortunate. Right? Hopefully next year they will have that figured out. Right? But no, I was not a part of the summit this year. Quite the shame. Right? But thanks for asking. Akintundo the Great. I mean, change comes with friction. If we really want change, we have to educate our children and raise them to call our language Haitian. There was a time when the Filipino used to call theirs Taiparong, right? Right. So yeah, thanks for that. You're absolutely right. Right. I agree with that for sure. Haiti's COVID number is going to go down as the U.S. numbers spikes. Lesson in that. Odingo says COVID is a hoax. COVID says COVID is a communist overtake. Oh, you're being serious. Oh, okay. Akintindo says, I was waiting for you to talk about his constitution. We talked about it. P. Toussaint says, however, Creole has kept us, Haiti in the past has not evolved as a language. Okay. We should use Creole as a side language, prioritize English, then Spanish. I disagree. It's unfortunate you feel that way. Actually, the past 10, 20 years, the Haitian Creole language has seen the most development, actually, because of the amount of scholarly focus on it from many top institutions, including Harvard and MIT, who have done incredible advances. And in fact, funny enough, the most advances of Creole as a language, structurally speaking, has happened outside of Haiti. In fact, that's one reason why when you go to Google to translate, you have Haitian Creole on there. Meanwhile, you don't have Jamaican Patois. Meanwhile, you don't have Guadeloupean Creole, right? And you don't have a Louisiana Creole, right? A lot of folks who like to say, "Oh, well, it's just like these languages," but are we on Google? Are they on Google Translate? Answer that for me, right? And a lot of, when I say structurally advances, I mean literally folks working on standardizing a lot of things and more than anything, documenting the complexity that exists in our language, right? And anyone who would say Creole has kept us and not evolved doesn't speak Creole very well, in my opinion, in my honest opinion, because I live in Creole. I live in Haiti. I see how complex the Creole language is living in Creole. There's some guys I follow. I mean, listen, check this out. Check this out. Let me show you guys something. Let me show you guys something. It's actually, this is very important. I take some time out and show you one of my favorite Instagram pages. Give me a second. Okay. And this guy, it's a pretty popular guy over in Haiti. There's a lot of these smaller, just purely pure Haitian artists, who are there in Haiti putting some massive numbers on Instagram and doing through skits and stuff like that. And this guy's name is Shakshu Haiti 509. I'm a big fan of him. I have very few pages on Instagram I actually have notifications on. Like when they drop, I want to go see what they just dropped. This guy's one of them. Let me try to share my screen here and get hopefully I get the sound to play here. I hope. So we'll see. Let me try to share the audio. Right. So there we go. And I'm gonna play one of these. I'm gonna get off screen for a second and just play one of these. And hopefully you guys can hear the audio. You guys let me know, right? If you guys can hear the audio, right? And
Bon nouveau machine à l'équipe qui vient de suite là, la surprise c'est une balle brassée. Me défie ton pozo, me balle brassée monsieur. Est-ce que vous connaissez depuis en bas là, les mouillés là, que moun propose disposer devant ba là. Pour moi qui celle dans la coupe. Calmez tout le vidéo sous moi. C'est ça. Disposer, soyez le faire. Pas ça. C'est pas besoin de finir de c'est des fautes pas d'avoir disposer. Vous mettez vous marchez moi j'ai mes problèmes. Est-ce que vous finissez sous moi? Est-ce que vous finissez sous moi? Qu'est-ce que maman vous faites? Qu'est-ce que maman fait? Qu'est-ce que maman fait? Yo, pour moi j'ai finir sous moi comme moun.
And that guys is Shoko, right? And or Shakshu, excuse me, Shakshu. And for those, and a lot of those people who think you can speak Creole, you probably couldn't keep up with that Creole, right? You couldn't keep up with the speed of that Creole and the complexity of that Creole, right? Because he was dropping. I'm not even going to explain it to you because if you couldn't get it, this is why, what P. Toussaint said is honestly so offensive and so misguided, right? Because there is an incredibly deep, and I hope you guys heard that. I didn't hear anyone saying they couldn't hear what I was showing, but why, our language is incredibly complex. And if you're saying that, it's because you are misinformed. Right? I'm going to move on from that, but just understand that's the truth, right? Let's see. So let's keep moving. I think this has skipped a few messages here. Music Lover says it doesn't understand this immunity crap. Right? I agree. I remember that deputy shooting the journalist. I didn't know it was in the face. It was. Google it. You'll see. You'll see for yourself there. It would be a huge disappointment if the Constitution doesn't incorporate inclusion of the diaspora. I'm not saying that will solve Haiti's problem, but it would definitely bring a push. Time for competition, right? Or time for the competent. I didn't quite understand what he was writing there, and I agree with you. We're not saying that it's going to be the panacea, but certainly you can't expect to be doing the same things over and over and have the same result. That's insanity, right? We got Claudia Love Francois says, oh my goodness. My mode is in English. I'm in English speaking mode right now. Leave me alone. Iraji says the way Haitian Creole and English are languages of the country, and sizable Spanish, French, Portuguese fluent speakers to work in tourism, Latin American, French businesses, right? Jordan B saying it's a leverage and unique to the culture. We're lucky to have a language, a part of the country, but I agree in English and Spanish are just as important to know as we do today. I agree with that. Again, Haitian Creole, English, Spanish, Mandarin. French is not on that list. Sorry. P. Toussaint is having a vicarious argument about Creole here. Just understand Toussaint. Toussaint, you're in the wrong, bro. I'm sorry. You're in the wrong, man. I'll leave it at that. P. Toussaint, again, going to continue on saying it hasn't evolved. You're dead wrong. Sorry, bro. Sorry. Just take a step back and learn your language. Right. Jordan D says back and forth some conversations. Wife, mom, and nurse is very clear in terms of saying Creole has evolved, whatever that means. I think it's always been evolved. It's been poorly documented. Truly, is what I mean to say. It's probably the best way to describe that to someone like P. Toussaint. We have Reginald saying, I think you can run for, as a mayor. That's right. You can. Currently, you can run for mayor. That's really the highest office a Haitian can do is run for mayor. J. Kelly J says, hey, Genty, hope you show us something nice for Gun Dance. Big fan of Gun Dance. I've been to Jeremy personally. I love Jeremy. Jeremy's a beautiful, beautiful city. And I do hope in this coming year that I will be able to make some time to visit Gun Dance, make an episode out of it. So probably after Jacques Mel. Once his Jacques Mel episode is shot and released by the end of this November, I certainly 100% look forward to and hope to then probably my next big goal will be Jeremy. Because I love Jeremy. Jeremy's beautiful. Gundas itself is beautiful. So that is on the list for sure. All right. Let's see. Lots of conversations about the Creole language. I love it. I love the vigorousness of the conversation back and forth between you guys on this. Love it. Let's see. Lots of conversations still going. Let's see. Akuntudo just found out that there is dual citizenship. There is dual citizenship, which I talked about. A lot of Haitians don't know this. You are, per the Constitution 2012, you can't have dual citizenship and enjoy the fruits of being both Haitian and something else, right? But of course, the problem is there isn't a legal way to express it. So, but once you get the paperwork, it's legal. Right, so understand there's a gap in the middle between being a Haitian dual national and actually having the paperwork. The Parliament never did its job and passed laws that would have gave a clear pathway for that expression that's now backed by the Constitution to exist. And so, once you get on the other side, the paperwork you have is legal. Now, in between how to get there, I'll leave it at that. Right. Let's keep going. Let's see what else we have here. Can we do a short show on how to apply for Haitian citizenship dual national? It'll be a very short show, music lover. There isn't a formal way, right? Now, there's a lot of, when I say that, there are some ways to do it that isn't totally corrupt. And I know there are embassies that do provide things they try to do through different ways to get you your passport legally, right? When I say legally, without paying people under the table, right? Those processes, they take months, and I leave it vaguely to say processes take months because there isn't one hard process, right? What works for someone in one embassy or consulate in New York won't be the same process the DC embassy and consulate tries, which isn't the same process that the consulate in Miami tries, right? And especially when you're in Haiti, you're really in the wild, wild west because a lot of different things can go and happen if you try to do it the right way. And of course, if you do it the other way, you'll get your paperwork very quickly. But just know you're participating in the corrupt apparatus of the Haitian bureaucracy. Right? And so that's the answer. That's the short answer. I don't need to make an episode for it. The fact is, there just isn't a clearly defined legal process to get your dual citizenship because Parliament has never done its job since 2012. This has been active since 2012, and this Parliament has not done its job. So please don't write in this chat, oh, what Drovenel is doing is unconstitutional. That's unconstitutional, right? How do you have a law since 2012 for Haitians to be able to be citizens, no matter where they are? But Parliament has not done its job, right? And the way things are written right now, the president couldn't do anything because the president constitutionally is a figurehead when Parliament's in office, right? So even if the president wanted to do something, it's okay. All right, cool. No one wants to do it. I'll do it. Here's a new law. Here's a new decree for a process for the Haitian diaspora. That's not constitutional, right? That wouldn't be able to pass it, particularly when Parliament's in office, right? Right now, you've seen a bunch of decrees happen with the president because there's no Parliament to, and there's basically a void, and he's basically stepped into it. Even though constitutionally too, he's not supposed to be doing it, but still, there's no void. There's a void, and he's getting away with it, right? And maybe that's it. I get looked by it, I'm just giving you facts. I'm not necessarily telling you if I agree with it or not. It's just that's just where we are. All right. Claudia Francois, you missed it at the beginning. I am not in Haiti. Yeah, I'm stateside in America. Still doing an episode. We're here to vote. I still have my American citizenship. We're here to vote. Right? We're here to vote. Right? And let me close this window down. And yeah, et puis c'est la nuit. We're still getting an episode. And by the way, Claudia, we won't be here next week. A lot of stuff we got going on. Just FYI, since you missed the beginning of the episode. If you're still here, by the way, too. Jordan D says, "Kilo que?" For the Dominicans who are rushing in. Right. Let's see what we got. Mike Collins says, "Man, ain't nobody worried about Dominican commenters." That's why we got a block button. That's a funny one, Mike. Let's see what else we got here. Let's see what else we got. Lots of comments here. Wife, mom, and nurse says, "I would tax every truck $2,000." Does that have to do with a news story related to Dominicans getting an $800 charge? $800 charge. Let's see what else folks are saying here. Brother Jean Guerrero says, "Hey, brother Jean-Yves, it's unfortunate many Haitians nowadays are the legacy conversations we're having back and forth there. It's all good." Let's see. Yeah, word is, they should be. Word is the Dominicans are upset about Haiti raising tariffs by 800%. They should be, right? We'll leave it at that. Let's see what else folks are saying. A lot of folks feeling strongly about Dominican Republic, as you can imagine. Surprised I'm not seeing many Dominicans in the house. We got Nate in the house. Nate, what's up, brother? Hooked on Haiti. In fact, he just dropped some really interesting content on his YouTube channel. Nate has a YouTube channel, Hooked on Haiti. Hooked, HOOKED, on Haiti. Dropped some new episodes after a bit of a hiatus there. He's been in Haiti recently, and very nice quality stuff. I must say, I just watched him this morning. And so if you haven't watched yet, make sure you go subscribe. I made sure that I realized I wasn't subscribed to his channel. I made sure to hit the button this morning. So make sure to go check out Nate and what he's doing. This is back from Andeo. Time to catch his favorite news station, Haiti News. So definitely happy to have you back, Nate. And check this out, Nate. You had a good time, right? You weren't in danger, right, Nate? Right? You didn't ask permission and send some crazy asinine message to someone else. Say, "Hey, is Haiti safe?" No, you went and you had a good time, right? Just like you don't ask if when you're going to Chicago, "Hey, is Englewood safe?" Because you're not going to Englewood. You're going to Greater Chicago, where it's safe. When you go to Miami, you're not going to Liberty City. You're going to South Beach and Brickell, a bunch of different places. And when you go to Haiti, you're not going to City Soleil. You're not going to Matissan. You're not going to Les Salines. You're not going to City de Dieu. You're not going to Bicentennial. Right? This is just a strip of area in the Port-au-Prince downtown that has a lot of crime, and it's very unfortunate for the citizens who are there, because the statistics there are very bad. But that's nowhere you're going to be. You're going to be Andeo, which is extremely, extremely safe. Or you're going to be in Pitchville, or you're going to be on the resorts, all extremely safe. You go to Jamaica, you're not going to Montego Bay or Kingston, where there's an insanely amount of violence and deaths and murder. You're either going to the beach resorts or you're having a good time, somewhere else in a very insulated area, and nothing happens to you, right? And so Nate just had a great time and posted some great videos, and I appreciate that, Nate. I very much enjoy those videos you posted. So go check out Hooked on Haiti when you guys have a chance after this stream. Okay. What else? Jordan D says, "Hey, you guys must be trolling to ever think that a border is ever viable or legitimate solution." I agree. I think I agree with Jordan. What Haiti needs is a government that takes domestic production serious. We don't have to shut down trade. Trade is absolutely important. to growing any economy and helping the people as a whole. But just things to be more fair. And it starts with Haiti, and it starts with Haiti investing in its agriculture, making its agriculture a priority, and then also aligning its tariffs and its taxes appropriately, right? There's in no universe should rice enter Haiti at 0% tariff. In no universe. This one, next one, the next 100 universes should rice enter Haiti at 0% tariff. When we could be creating, when we can, and we have been creating rice for ourselves for decades, self-sufficiently, right? But that's where we are right now in Haiti, where that's the truth and reality of things. And so that's the stuff that doesn't make any sense, and that's what needs to be redesigned. I agree with Jordan D. A wall. You guys have been listening to Trump for 4 years for too long. A wall doesn't do anything. So I agree with Jordan D. right there. We got Iraq. Oof, man, your name's tough. Iraq's Prince. I'm just call you Prince. A Prince. How about that? Shout out to Seejeanty for dropping the great information every Sunday. No problem, brother. Appreciate it, man. Thanks for being and showing up with your very difficult name every Sunday as well. I appreciate you, brother. Right? Lots of conversations back and forth here. We got Martial saying, why do Haitians go to Saint Domingo, even if home is not good enough? It's still the worst place to go, right? Economic opportunity, unfortunately. Things are very tough in Haiti, and I can't wait for the day where Haitians don't have to trade their dignity for economic progression. And that's ultimately what it's been: is either die of hunger or go to another country for the opportunity to economically progress, and your humanity and your dignity is really not a priority versus being dead, right? And that's what it is for a lot of Haitians. A lot of other Haitians should get that criticism. A lot of Haitians are particularly well off, and yet they go and spend their weekends in Dominican Republic. But the funny thing is, though, is that Dominican Republic is actually a very nice place. And you're treated very nicely, actually, if you have money. If you come in with a little bit of cash in your pocket, they actually treat you very well. There's very little racism. Right? They're trying very best to kick poor Haitians out, but Haitians with money, come on in. You'll be treated with everything that's good about Dominican Republic, right? So it can blur the analysis. If Dominican Republic was just only a little more racially motivated to just blanketly ban all Haitians, but they only dislike poor Haitians, which is very, very important distinction for Dominican Republic. Right? We got Drew. A wall is let's see, backing up the wall talk here. Let's just say I disagree. You're welcome to voice that perspective, but I think I made it very clear what my perspective is. Right. J. Phil Stoon says, newsflash, Haiti doesn't have enough to be self-sufficient. Closing the border is not self-sufficient. It's transition independence is needed before closing the border. I agree with you, J. Phil. Thanks I love this debate happening in the chat between the Creole and now between the conversations relating to the border. So I love these conversations we're having. I appreciate you guys partaking and participating in it. It's all about improvement of educational return. So thank you for that. Right. Mike Colin, wait a minute, Mike. Hold on, Mike. Wait a minute, Mike. Mike being really, really sassy with this comment there. Mike saying prioritize English. What's next? Making Haiti the 51st state. Come on, bro. Why are you doing that? Why are you saying that? Why you gotta be so like that, man? Listen. Is Rwanda the 51st state? Hello, Rwanda, the one country in Africa that is just revolutionizing themselves and is becoming a first world economic power. Guess what they did? Guess one of the first things they did? They were a French-speaking country, and they said, we're not doing French anymore because French is freaking useless. It's useless, man. It's a useless language. And the French themselves hate you for speaking it. I'm serious, man. Don't you know this? Have you ever been to France. I've been to France, and the French look at you with disgust. They want to spit in your face when you're speaking French and you can't speak it exactly to the syllable the way they speak it. They want to spit in your face. They look at you with hatred for coming in and dissoiling their language, right? Why would you want to speak that? Why would you want to speak French? I don't understand. I don't get it. Oh, it's our lineage. Lineage of what? They enslaved us. We beat them. We beat Napoleon. Why do we have any allegiance to their language? I don't understand. Right? And Rwanda understood that. They said that. They expressed that. They said, why is this French around? It's a garbage language. It's useless for us economically. And we have no desire for it. And they dropped it and picked the language of business, which is English. And they're doing very well because of it. They're doing very well because of it. Right? And they're not the 51st state. Right? They're a country in progression because they're aligning their economy with the systems that improve, that puts them competitive with the rest of the world. And that's all we're talking about, Mike. I know you must have been, you're making a joke, Mike. I get it. Ha, ha, ha. Funny. Come on now. Some things you can't, some folks would take you serious. You gotta be careful, Mike. You gotta be careful. Right? Mike follows up, says, those Haitians don't read Haitian Creole, Google translates your friend, right? Right? I agree. LM says Haiti was denied entry because of geographic location. I understand that, LM. Thank you. If you're just clarifying that. I knew that, but has any African leader ever been to Africa? Any African leader ever been to Haiti? You know, Haiti is Little Africa. Anyone who's any African who's ever come to Haiti, they'll say, "Oh my God, this is Kenya. This is Gabon. This is Benin. This is Ghana. This is this is Africa." All right? It's a big failing of the African Union to denied Haiti. Haiti should have been the exception. Clearly and obviously, right? But I understand it's at the end of the day their choice, right? And that's ultimately why we should align to our self-interests and not necessarily the African Union, right? And make those choices based off of those things, right? Let's see where are we? Let's see. Okay, I just read something here. What is that? But given observer status. Yeah. The only black nation is given that outside of Africa. Okay. All right. Let's keep scrolling down a little bit. LM, Haiti has always been an observer of the African Union, right? But the goal is to get it to full-fledged. You're absolutely right. That was the goal. Strong Vision says we should speak Creole and other languages for business purposes only. Yeah, I agree. Right, and ultimately, Haiti Biz News is for business, so that's why we're speaking it. FYI. Do you think President's anti-corruption initiative is going to be effective? No, because if that was the case, then they would have at least one arrest of a PHTK member for the Petrocaribe corruption. Right. We've had 3 very thick, well done, impartial analysis on the Petrocaribe corruption scandal, where billions of dollars were just disappeared. PHTK were a part of that corruption, and we have not yet seen a single arrest. So LF to think that this president will take corruption, the prosecution of corruption serious is laughable and is a joke, right? And simply put, they're sitting on 3 very well done theses that very clearly name names. And by the way, President Moise is in there, and his name has been named, right? And we haven't seen a single arrest of any PHTK member. So no, unfortunately, no, we're not going to see anything. And if you seriously do think he's going to do anything about it, it's laughable. You should know better, right? And that's just not. I mean, he may prove me wrong. At which point I'll turn an about face. But I'm just speaking to what has happened for the past 3-4 years. Petrocaribe has been under the spotlight, right? What else? What else? Right, we got fresh now fun. Putting a very important comment together, very long one too. Whew. Let me not put that on screen. That's a long comment. Not a question, but more of observation to your French language comment earlier. The thing is that the French language has been official language since 1804. It has been a language of instruction in school. The thing is that Haiti has a poor education system historically, thus leading to many not having access to proper schooling. As a result, this made space for Creole language to grow, develop more elaborately over the centuries, which is fine. However, totally eradicating. Okay, if I'm not mistaken, I think Creole became the official language in 1987. No, the Creole became an official language under Jean-Bertrand Aristide, and I think that would be 1993 or 1994, around there. All right, though I think the Constitution did give special privileges to Creole, but it wasn't until Aristide that, at the very least, it was part of law, administration, and a concentrated effort was done to really push it as an instructional language in schools, right? But thanks for that comment, Fresnel. I appreciate it. Very insightful. Definitely helpful. Tegno says, I want to move to Haiti, but then I realize, wait a minute. Hold on. Let's highlight this. This is funny. He goes, this is hilarious. I want to move to Haiti, but then I realize you are a paid propagandist. Ooh, you gotta love social media. You got a lot of crazies who come in and just drop random ass comments, unsubstantiated. Please tell me, Trigal 24, how am I a paid propagandist? And please include receipts, any citations, any proof that you have that I'm a paid propagandist. I would love to know how I'm a paid propagandist, by someone who's just about every single penny that that has brought me to you guys has been out of my own pocket, minus the small handful of money that great guys who watch this have contributed to the Seejeanty channel through donations. Minus that, 95%, 98% of everything has come out of my own pocket. But so I'd love to know how I'm a paid propagandist. I'd love to get details on that. Trigar 24, which by the way looks pretty Spanish. It might be one of my Dominican commenters there who's coming. In any case, let's keep it going. Paulette Val says, "Hey, I want to rent a house, 5 bedrooms. How much will it cost me in a month in the area La Boule? Rent a house, 5 bedrooms. You're probably going to pay an American price, probably around 14. Something that's nice, that's American standards. You're probably going to pay upwards of $1,200, $1,400, $1,500, $2,000 for that privilege. You can probably pay a lot less. And just if I were you, I'd go to Airbnb and because there's a lot of lodgings on Airbnb that you can check out for like $30 a night. That's pretty affordable, relatively speaking. And you can message them directly, and you can get a special rate on the side for a monthly stay, right, rather than per night. So do check out. I suggest you check out Airbnb. Otherwise, just put anything Haiti real estate. Do Haiti real estate in your Instagram, and you'll find a lot of different realtors. You can reach out to them. You can see what they offer. But do shop around, because it can be pretty. Fortunately, when you come in from America, folks like to take advantage, right? So definitely shop around. Don't take the first quote. You want to line up maybe 5 or 6 different quotes, and then make the one that makes the most sense for you, right? P. Toussaint's continuing with his rant about Creole being poorly documented. It's just not true, man. I mean, it's just literally Google, Haitian Creole language, and you'll see the progressions that has been done in the past 10 to 20 years, right? And it's I think P. Toussaint's trying to say something about, well, it's not happening through Haitian universities, but okay, but that's a point. You do understand that the best institutions in the world for academics, there's a reason why the Chinese send their kids to Harvard. There's a reason why Europeans send their kids to Harvard. There's a reason why Latin Americans send their kids to Harvard. Harvard is the premier academic institution of the world. Understand this. And it's Harvard that's coming out with, MIT that's coming out with these analysis, these structural researches, reconstruction rules of the Haitian language that ultimately is being applied to technology, and why Haitian Creole is part of Google Translate and not other languages, other Creole languages. And so again, P. Toussaint, you are extremely uninformed. You're making yourself look extremely bad in front of a lot of people, P. Toussaint. So, brother, stop typing. It's important. Listen, if I'm in the wrong, I'll say I'm in the wrong. It's part about being human. That's a big part of growing and educating oneself, is when given new information, you recalculate, reconfigure, and then move forward. And we're giving you new information that you need to stop, recognize, digest. If you still feel that way, that's fine, but include in your argument why you feel that way. But if you continue to say it's poorly documented, you are extremely misinformed. And I suggest you inform yourself, right? And that's as much energy I can give you, P. Toussaint, on this topic. You're welcome to change topics, add a commentary, but there's just I don't see there's any additional value in engaging you on this, unfortunately. Okay. A Prince comes out, says Trump 2020. Odingo Buto follows up, says vote Trump. Just in case you think I'm partial for anything. You wrote it, I read it. We got everything electronic saying Trump forever. You guys. Jean Guerrero says, brother Seejeanty, agree with you. After Creole, the other languages should then follow. It includes Mandarin and Spanish on there, right? Macedonia subject says, yes, I do have a WhatsApp number. I do have one. If that's your question. I do have a WhatsApp number. Let's see what else. I'm glad to see what Haitians understand, that the Democrats are the Democrat. Woo! Well, Digo, he needs to do stand-up. Digo's hilarious. I'm serious. Digo is hilarious. And I've cracked up 2 or 3 times so far. D. Webster, ça qu'a fait nous là, oui. Activité, nous là, en forme. Jean Chris says loves his Creole language, right? And we'll go ahead and formally get rid of Trago 24. Thanks for playing the game, Trago 24. We don't keep those. We don't entertain that level of brain deadery around here. So thanks for playing. Have a great time, Trago 24. Thanks for playing. Appreciate you. Goodbye. You, my friend, are no longer allowed to type. Thank you. Next up, let's see. We got a Contindo saying Dominicans are usually the people who are pushing to build a wall. You're right. Albert Hippolyte says, do you have an idea of the changes in the new constitution if there will be a vice president? I talked about it. So after this video is over, just replay it. Around the 45th minute, we start talking about the news. 43rd minute or so. So do check that out. I did talk about it. Jean Guerrero says the doctor said he has groups providing his own version of the Constitution. Yep. Nate Lazure says, I had an absolute blast exploring Fond Rouge, your own area in the mountains. Jeremy, stay tuned. A biking race. Oh, okay. All right, Nate. I look forward to seeing that. Hooked on Haiti. Remember, go subscribe to this channel, Hooked on Haiti, to catch it when it comes out. Macedonia says, Mr. Seejeanty, do you have a WhatsApp number and it's open to the public? Not at this time. But I do like that question because once the book is out, I do intend to do certain things. Seejeanty website's going to be coming out very soon too, as well. That's one of the places you're going to be able to purchase it. And I'm actually looking to do a sort of monthly subscription sort of deal where I'm going to allow folks for a very nominal fee, maybe $10 a month or something, to be able to join a WhatsApp channel where not only will I be in it, and I'll be, as active as I can be given my busy schedule in that channel, and be able to I will openly respond to inquiries on that WhatsApp channel. But it will be a great place for folks to share resources and encourage each other when it comes to business, keep folks informed from Haiti business perspective. That channel is going to exist. I haven't done it quite yet, but for a nominal fee, maybe, I don't know, $10 a month or something, folks will be able to participate in this channel and have a direct correspondence with other actioneers who are doing great things in Haiti, right? So I haven't decided to do that just yet, but it's going to come out around the same time my website comes out and the book comes out. Right? So do look out for that. I will announce it formally, and there'll be other really cool things we'll be able to do with that WhatsApp group. A lot of exclusive behind the scenes things and just things that you won't see anywhere else. We're going to be dropping in that WhatsApp channel. So it's coming out. So thanks for bringing that up. Macedonia, right now there isn't, but there will be, and I'm very excited to be able to provide that coming very soon. Okay, all right. What else? A Prince says Haiti needs to start to find a way to dig our natural resources. We have over 157 natural minerals that could change everything. Period. I agree with you, but that shouldn't happen until we have good governance. Because if we were to start doing that, it will only support very, very corrupt people. Rather than those resources going to help the people of Haiti with education, with roads, with infrastructure. It will just go to line the pockets of very, very corrupt people. So until we have good governance, we have a government that is well structured with good people in it, where we should not do that. Right? A Prince says the French language needs to take a shower. I agree. Let's see. Let me scroll up. I think I lost my place. Let's see. God dang it, I lost my place. Oh, we'll just start here. Whatever. Sorry, guys. Let's see. Midzi says some African conversations there. Let's see. Kennedy says we need a death penalty to get rid of political criminals, I suppose. Game, let's find the Dominican in the live chat. Let's see. Mike Collins says, there you go, Mike Collins. I told you Craig Ford was going to get that block. Yeah, you were right. I can only stand so much stupidity before that person gets it. I don't have to disagree with you, but you are going to be respectful to Haitians in this Haiti focused channel, right? I don't have to disagree with you, right? But you are going to be respectful, right? And if you're not, stuff happens to you, right? Let's see. Yeah, a lot of folks were laughing at that comment about me being a paid propagandist. So thanks, appreciate that. Jingaro says, "My brother, with patience, the world shall see Haiti rise from its past, the dust and shine. I have great hope for Haiti. Haiti will not perish." Thanks for that, Jean. Definitely appreciate that. The problem is all these officials who make reports about Petrochem, they're all doing politics. Most of them were involved in the Petrochem scandal. They put their name on it, on the reports to accuse people, of course, themselves. Petrochem is political, bro. No, right? It was an independent panel all three times that wrote those reports. It was the independent panel that's hired, that's their function is to fight corruption, right? That's their function. They're the anti-corruption unit of the Haitian government. And it was a subcommittee of that larger entity. Who else would you want to do this, right? If the UN came in and they did it, you would accuse the UN of being a big brother state that's taking the sovereignty of Haitians. It's a Haitian entity that's doing it, a Haitian bureau that is charged with fighting corruption. They wrote 3 different papers that looked at it very impartially. Each person on that committee comes from different political entities, right? And that isn't true, right? And that's the sort of mentality that keeps us in this corruptive bubble where when impartial reports come domestically from Haitian bodies and Haitian institutions that are charged with that responsibility, you have J. Kelly J, people like them that say, well, it's all political. Don't trust it, bro. Come on, man. Come on, man. that's not, we won't get any progress with that sort of mentality and progress and that mindset. That's just the reality, man. All right. Jojo says, thank you, Seejeanty, for spending your money and energy to help promote Haiti around the world. Thank you, brother. Thank you. I tell you what, I wish I was a paid propagandist. I say this tongue in cheek, jokingly, because, man, it's been expensive. Tens of thousands of dollars spent. You hear me? Listen, hey, I'll call. If there is a propaganda who wants to pay me to do exactly what I'm doing right now, please message me. Oh man, I'm kidding, but geez, you gotta laugh at stuff like this. You gotta laugh. Let's see. Blue Mountain. Blue Mountain's in here. Wow, Haitians still supporting Trump after you played them and called them a shithole. Seriously, short-term memories, man. Same reason why Duvalier and Steven set foot in Haiti. Hey, Blue Mountain. Hit you guys with the counter. That's Blue Mountain saying it. I'm just reading them, right? JP says, I agree we should focus on teaching English, but rejecting French completely will not solve our problems. Rwanda we're not colonized by the French, rather than it was Belgium. Our problem is French is a social status in Haiti. It's just a language, but yes, English is very important. It won't magically make Haiti improve. Mr. Macedonia says, I have a donation for program, but I need instructions on how to donate. Not too savvy donating online. Want to transfer? Can you guide me? I think there's a button somewhere on here that allows you to donate directly through YouTube. But also, if you download something called a Cash App, you download to your phone. Just follow the instructions. Very easy to set up, and then you type in $Seejeanty, and boop, you send your donation directly through there. Right. So those are 2 instructions right there, Macedonia. And thank you in advance for taking the time to figure it out and provide that donation. I certainly appreciate you. Music Lover 2, feel free, drop a link if you so choose. No problem there. When it comes to, because the Music Lover asked to share a video on Joe Biden, feel free. No problem. Jungiro says, yep, needs a research, right? I think starting with P. Toussaint, you need to research. He certainly is very malinformed. I agree. Franklin St. Charles, great person for Haiti. If that makes you a propagandist, so be it. You're right. So be it. And since I'm a propagandist anyways, anybody want to pay me? So we could justify Tarago's 24's claim that I'm a paid propagandist. Or now I'm a propagandist, but not a paid propagandist. You see? That's oh, I love it. You guys crack me up, man. Yes, we have natural resources. Paulette Duval says, thank you for what you're doing. Continue to inform. No problem. Thank you. Cedric Dorr says, good afternoon. Just now checking in. We are strong. We need strong Native Haitians in the diaspora. I want to thank you for that comment. I certainly appreciate it. And last call. I want to take a quick minute. Last call. If you type something that was really important, you had a question for me that was really important, something you want my perspective on, you wanted to better inform yourself, anything at all. This is the last call for any questions, any comments. Last call. Hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. Type it. I'm about to call it a day. Hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. Type it right now. Don't DM me. Your DM's gonna stay on scene. I'll be honest with you. I'm just too busy. I'm too busy. You guys, I wish I could show you my DMs. I have so many folks. I can't. I run 3 businesses. I'm about to start a major venture that's starting in early next year. You know, I function as a consultant for Israeli University. Like, you know, I have a wife. I try to give her some attention. You see, I try to stay in shape. Like, guys, plus on top of that, I'm still trying to do this in one-man show. I do research. It takes me 4 hours to research this. Like, guys, I don't want to be rude, but I'm telling you, I don't have time to answer. DMs are very low priority for me. I'm sorry, right? And so, guys, if you really want an answer to your question or something, hit me up right now in the comments. Right now, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. Otherwise, you'll be in 2 weeks when I'm back. You'll be able to ask your question, right? Let's see. Cedric says, "What can we do to build to build the economy in Haiti first?" Great question. Short answer is I have a book coming out that's going to help. Book is going to have 101 business ideas for Haitians to come back and impart and start ventures, job creating businesses to help Haitians, right? That's really the number one answer. We need more Haitians coming back, visionary entrepreneurs coming back with job ideas who are going to be successful. The next best thing really is real simple. You don't have to take the risk and come to Haiti and all the things involved with it. Buy Haitian. That's it. You know, it takes just inconvenience. I always say inconvenience yourself. Because believe me, the Chinese inconvenience the heck out themselves to make sure they always buy Chinese. Every every group of people except Black people and except Haitian people do not do group economics. They prefer the other people's ice tastes better than their ice, right? And so really it's just that simple. Either you come to Haiti with a business idea that can provide jobs, or just simply go on Amazon, type in Haiti, right? And you'll see so much Haitian goods and products that exist. Do a Google search on Haitian products, coffee. We have good tea with this Coral Essence that's sold right now and across so many different stores, and go directly to their website. I mean, there's so many Haitian products. Go support a Haitian restaurant instead of going out when you have a date. Go to a Haitian restaurant, and support a Haitian business locally. We have to go out our ways to support a Haitian business. And that's it. If more Haitians did that and inconvenienced themselves to support Haitian, we would be far along as a people, right? I mean, when we look at little Haiti, look at the gentrification that's happening. Why is that happening? It's because you have a generation of Haitians who, as soon as they get some money, they leave for the suburbs of Coral Springs, of Weston, of Pembroke Pines, of Miramar, and then these are the same people that are typing a storm and saying there's injustice in the world. Meanwhile, you had a place called Little Haiti, and even look at China, Little China. You think anyone who's not Chinese is gonna be able to make headways in Little China? Look at what Miami has become. Miami has become second Havana. Why? Because Cubans have taken up Little Havana, for example. You think anyone other than a Cuban is going to be able to take major assets out of Little Havana? I'm talking Little Havana here in Miami. Forget about it, right? Because Cubans are making a point. They reinvest their money as they get older. They don't decide to invest other places. They buy real estate in Little Havana. They rehab. They support each other. They go. They have restaurants on a weekend night. You know what the Haitians? You know what Cubans do? They go to Little Havana and enjoy a family evening together as Cubans. Haitians don't do that. Ask yourself the last time your Haitian parents who live in Miami went to Little Haiti to have a good time. No, they'll go to Cheesecake Factory, right? They'll go to Domino's Pizza, right, down the street, and give another group of people their money, but they won't do anything to support others. So that's fine. Your parents weren't necessarily informed about group economics. What's your excuse, though? You know better. What's your excuse, right? So it's just a quick little rant, but it's really not hard to improve, to you yourself make a specific impact in Haiti and Haitians. And that's simply control your money, know where your money is going, and always, always, always ask yourself, before I spend this dollar here on this product, on this service, is there a Haitian I can give this to? It's just that simple. And if you keep that in mind, I promise you, within a generation, Haiti will improve and Haitians will be in a position to better help Haiti because we'll be much more economically empowered to do so. And will have been done through other Haitians helping empower ourselves, not another group of people who have their own interests and own desires, right? It will be ourselves. Thank you for that question, Cedric. I appreciate it. Great question. Jojo asks, if someone would like to meet you in Haiti, how will we do that? That's not going to happen. I am extremely busy, as I just mentioned. I barely have time for family in Haiti when I'm there. But what I do is occasionally I do meet and greets. COVID shut down that. In fact, I had a meet and greet for March, like the week right when everything went to crap around the world with COVID. And I do meet and greets. Once COVID is down, even though in Haiti, there's no COVID officially, but I don't know where you're coming from. I don't what you're probably coming from America. I don't, stay away. I don't want COVID. But once COVID is no longer a thing on this planet, hopefully next year, I hope we'll go back to doing meet and greets, and that will be an opportunity for us to connect. Because it's just not effective for me to meet people one-on-one. I just can't do it. But I don't mind, having a group of 10, 20, 30 people, and we're all here to talk business, talk opportunities. I'm down for that. So Jojo, look out for that in the new year when COVID is no longer a thing. Kenny Joe says, none of the things that are being talked about will go anywhere without criminal justice reform in Haiti. People need to be afraid to break the law regardless of the status. I agree that there is a weakness in our criminal justice, and there needs to be an improvement and real money put towards more jails and just much more capacity of the justice system. It's very undermanned, understaffed, right? Seejeanty, is your Cash App the one with the cartoon characters? The Cash App is the $ Seejeanty, right? Let's see, $, Seejeanty on Cash App. Okay, thanks, man. Thanks in advance for any donation. Do you agree with the border taxes? I do. I absolutely do. But an asterisk, if we take serious domestic agricultural production, meaning we're really putting money and resources into the hands of farmers in Haiti. Okay, and I think we're doing it somewhat. We could certainly be doing more of it, but without that, we're just really increasing misery. Without that, okay. Jordan D says, did you see my question about your opinion? On the best searching engine for Zillow for sales of houses and for rent, if word of mouth was still the best way to bang for your buck. In Haiti doesn't have a Zillow for sales of houses. There's websites that exist that kind of do post property for sale. But I'll be honest, word of mouth is the best way to buy property in Haiti because, buying it through formal means, you're going to probably end up paying double what you probably would have gotten if you've gotten the deal exposed to you directly from the owner. I'll be honest with you. And so I would advise you actually to probably come to Haiti, take some time, network, meet people, and then just through that process of just connecting and networking, you'll find out, hey, Bob, I'm leaving Haiti for XYZ. I'm selling my property, to come take a look at it. Okay, listen, here it's for $100,000. Versus if you hadn't done it that way, the sales price would be $300,000. You see what I'm saying? So word of mouth is still the best way to go. I'll be honest with you. All right. Jay Kelly says, my last is I like your show. I don't agree with certain points, but I like your show. No problem, man. So we can disagree. That's A-okay. You know what I mean? That's A-okay. It's all right. But I appreciate you being here. Appreciate you watching. Jay Kelly. Appreciate you, brother. Isaac Dupas at work. First step is to visit, then go from there. You're absolutely right. Isaac is spot on that analysis. What's the best way to have great internet in Haiti? I have multiple. Right? I have both Access Haiti Fiber and Natcom Haiti Fiber. Access Haiti is pretty stable, but there's times when they're not, right, for different reasons, and that's why it's good to have Natcom. And the same thing when Natcoms can be pretty stable, but there's times it's not. at which point, having access Haiti is important. So that's the best thing I can tell you is if you're in Haiti and you're very dependent on internet, consistent internet, make sure to have 2 different companies that you're subscribed to. Otherwise, you're not going to have a good time, right? Cedric Dorr says, put that up there. That's right. Claude Anderson's Power Economics is the answer. You're absolutely right. I mean, that should be the Bible in not just every Haitian's home, but every Black person's home, right? Because that answer I gave is the answer for all Black people all across the world, right? That's just the reality, okay? We're economically disenfranchised, and we need to aggressively work on economically empowering ourselves in a capitalistic structure where the only value a person has is their economic means and their wealth, right? Let's see. Anyone know a good site to list for, Haitian products? I mean, there's, buy Haitian coffee, I think .com or .ht. There's so many. There's countless Haitian websites. Literally, just type in Haitian products. There's not a single website. There are countless websites that exist online that support different Haitian products, bro. And as he goes, I know I can buy coffee on Amazon, but I'm not sure. I mean, they are getting to Haitian farmers. If you buy Rebo, you can buy Rebo coffee on Amazon. That's going to go to Haitian farmers. Rebo has a supply chain, and they have their own farmers that they work with. Singing Rooster is a not-for-profit that specifically was created to allow Haitian farmers, Haitian coffee farmers, have a much more international focus on the product. Listen, Mike, it's not complicated. If the product is made in Haiti, it's helping Haitians. It's not, bro, there's no middle institutional corporation that's sucking profits. If it's real simple. If it's made in Haiti, buy it, period. Mike, you're making it real complicated. It's not that hard. Google, made in Haiti. Is it the product you want? Buy it. If that's it, c'est fini, man. I'm typing out a whole bunch of stuff for no reason, right? Is the Marriott hotel still closed? Nope. It is reopened, right? How much does it cost to rent a commercial space in the capital? Varies. It can be pretty expensive. It varies, but it can be pretty expensive, right? So just be aware of that, Officer Garad. Partner with a real estate professional, and Godspeed to you, but it can be pretty expensive. I remember I had a very small, I'll give you an example, I had this very small 800 square foot, maybe 600 square feet office space when I first got to Haiti, and I was paying $1,000 for it. So FYI, okay? Perfect Lugi God says we need to move to Port-au-Prince, invest in other cities. Stop moving to Port-au-Prince, invest in other cities, right? Let's see. Zuzu says, great point. I keep telling Haitians friends the same thing. Versailles restaurant in Little Havana is the political headquarters for Cubans. Blacks in general don't have anything to compare in Miami. Do you think the March election will have any implications on your book? Yes, if the Constitution changes. Because I have a section about Haitian dual nationality. And but I already put an asterisk to say, hey, by the way, this might change because Haitian Constitution is changing. So, but that's the only thing really that's going to affect my book from a legal perspective, right? A lot of comments in here. Let's see. That's a comments there. Yeah, you can buy Cassava. I like this one comment here. LF says you can buy Cassava, Haitian chocolate, Haitian peanut butter, etc. Sandra, no, hey, y'all, just getting here. Rewind. What's up, Sandra? Good to have you in the chat. Haitian coffee and take to your workplace to expose other people. Yeah, that's a great idea there. Great idea there. Kenji. And Black Millennial, what's up? Good to have you in the chat here, right? So I think that covers everybody, the questions that were had here. I want to thank everyone for taking the time out. We had a very good, lively live session. We wrapped up the news action just 30 minutes, probably. Was it 30 minutes? Maybe an hour. 45 minutes, probably closer. Thanks for all the comments and questions. I always enjoy the comments that we have here. A lot of folks say, Seejeanty, well, you should probably make it separate. Well, probably not. The business element draws people in for the conversations that happens afterwards, right? It sets the tone, right? And so, no, I want to keep it that way. But in fact, we do have plans. Things are in the works for hopefully this time around next year. We'll have something a lot more formal as it relates to Haiti Biz News. So we'll see. We'll see. Just know, things aren't going to stay the way they are right now for Haiti Biz News. We have a lot of big plans, a lot of big ambitions for Haiti Biz News, which can evolve its own channel and a lot of its own content being produced independent of me, right? But we'll still have these weekly conversations because I enjoy this. I enjoy talking to you guys, right? But certainly we have much bigger ambitions, believe me, right? Because we're not here just to, chat into a camera. We're here to change and impact and grow, right? And so, so I guess as always, I want to thank you guys for coming up. I made an all call for an editor, right? I made an all call for an editor to help with the book that's coming out very soon. The book called 101 Ways to Make Money in Haiti, lucrative business ideas, insightful success stories, and interesting business opportunities for visionary entrepreneurs. Reach out to my email. My email is in the description. Tell me what your experience is, and I need help. Where I just finished my personal revisions. That was my third personal revision, and now I want a professional editor to kind of look through and help out, with this book. And of course, I'm going to need pay, right? So feel free, message me if you're interested. If you have experience editing, or actually, in terms of published reviews and book manuscript reviews, message me. Really important. I really want to get this book out early December. So please, as soon as the stream ends, message me. Right? I want to get this ball moving. Right? And again, remember, guys, there's no Haiti Biz News next week. There will be no Haiti Biz News next week. A lot of stuff happening next weekend. I just won't have the time to prepare the show notes. Won't have the time to shoot it, per usual. We'll be back on the 15th. We'll be in a brand new world. Remember, guys, go vote. We'll have a brand new president running the history of the world. So make sure you go vote. Really important, for the sake of your kids, for the sake of Haiti, for the sake of so much, for the sake of America. Please go vote. Remember, we had, wow, I can't believe I skipped that. So we had an episode on the BPO. Oh my God, I can't believe I didn't talk about it at the top of the hour. We had a BPO episode of Seejeanty BPO. I'm actually very disappointed how little views it's getting, right? I'm disappointed since it's getting okay views, but I want it to be one of my top videos. Why? Because Seejeanty BPO is job creating. They have over 130 plus jobs. They're doing incredibly good work. They're well-paid jobs. So many folks would criticize me. Say, "Oh, Seejeanty, you're going to these sweatshops, and they're not paying these employees anything. How can you support?" Yo, look. Seejeanty BPO, they're paying their guys hundreds of dollars US to do quality work. If you watch that episode, so many young professionals are working, right? I'm showing you this, but there's no views on that compared to the other stuff. Comparatively, do me a favor, guys. Go watch the video if you haven't watched it yet. And then it's really important. I need you to share this video, because it's these videos that really, Seejeanty exists to create that content where you have incredible entrepreneurs impacting, changing the economic ecosystem of the country, right? We need to highlight that. We as Haitians, we need to highlight that. That is what we need to be sharing. Not Kanye visiting Haiti, man. It's, God bless him. He's a very successful guy. God bless him, right? But Duquesne is a native son of Haiti, right? Who is doing great things on a Kanye-like level. We need to be hosting him up, putting him on our shoulders, and extolling him as evidence of what's possible, right? And that's why the videos exist, and highlighting his business of Seejeanty BPO, and not just a BPO. He has a whole complex, all working to empower the Haitians who work with him. He has clinics there. He provides full health care for his employees. I mean, come on, guys. Help me out. Go watch the video, please. and then share this episode like your life depends on it. Share it to every single person you know. I don't care about any other episode I've done, right? They're great. I enjoy every content I produce, otherwise I wouldn't produce it. But when it comes to what I am, a zealous, Zealus, passionate nut person for, is what I just produced there. We have companies like that doing great stuff. I need you to share that video. All right? So I can't believe I didn't talk about it. I think that was one of the most important things I wanted to talk about. I'm very disappointed in myself for not talking about that at the top of the hour. But in any case, go watch that video. It's really important. And again, I want to thank you guys so much for hanging out today. Absolute blast. And here's to the election. We'll see how the world is turned upside down, depending on what happens. Hope to see you healthy, safe, in good spirits. And please, if you take anything from today's episode, Haiti's empowerment's in your hands, and it doesn't take much. Just think about how you can spend your dollars on Haitian products, Haitian goods. And thank you for informing yourself today. That's the other big thing. We don't have education as much as we need. So I want to thank you guys for watching. All right, guys. Until we're back at it again, we'll be back at it again. Peace.